You obviously heard Evan's broke.
All right. It worked this time. Amazing. Hello there and welcome back to @SWTVC. We are here doing another live stream because guess what? March Madness is coming up, but that means it's January, so submitting lists. I am Evan and I am joined by the @SWTVC team, Lewis, John, and Tyler. Yeah, that's all I got. Obviously, I prepared a lot for this.
But yeah, making graphics until I believe 3 a.m. or something like that.
Yes. But, so goes without saying. Does that work? The top 25 submission list is open. John, you have a spiel here. Go ahead and.
Yes. So submissions are now open. Welcome everybody. We'll say hi to everyone in a minute. It's nice to see a lot of friends in the comments already. But you know, somehow January returned. 5 years after Rise of Skywalker, we're still making that joke. And we are currently asking for your top 25 most wanted all-new Star Wars The Vintage Collection figures, which you can submit at the link tree right there. Submissions are open all month, closing at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, January 31st. So you have until then to submit or edit your list. And then, as you know, throughout February, we will use this data to compile the fifth annual TVC March Madness bracket, which launches in, you guessed it, March. So that's the headline. We'll get back to this in a minute with more analysis. Just want to throw that out there. If you want to have us in the background while you work on your list, we got a few other things to talk about first, but yeah.
Let's go ahead and just say hi to the chat real quick. I see a lot of people are here already. Welcome, everybody. We've got Riley Bob. Thanks so much, man. Happy New Year. This is where the fun begins, indeed. Tell us that, though. Remind us that the fun is still happening mid-February while we're crunching numbers. So, and by we, I mean that guy, John.
I'm gonna try to spread the wealth here this time, but we'll see what happens.
Let's see who else we got here today. We've got quite a few folks. Middle-aged Kiwi man, how's it going?
Kirora.
TVC Dadalorian. Oh, we've got John Miko himself here. How's it going, man?
Hello.
Toys are the way. Jay, guys, how's it going, man?
Good names in here.
Yeah.
Hey. Thanks for joining, John.
We got Findor Moon, Radis Force Dad, my buddy TJ. Yeah, all right, we got a lot. I want to go and say hi to all of you guys, but we would be here for a while, so unfortunately we'll not be able to do that. However, throughout the stream and when we're talking about stuff, if folks you have questions, please feel free to ask and we will try to keep tabs on that and answer your questions about stuff as we go. All right, so what's the next part of the show? Let's see. John, you're driving, man.
Yes, so all right, let's get back behind the steering wheel. But the new wave of Vintage Collection, the first wave of 2025, should be shipping out soon, hopefully. I believe some people are getting their Amazon notices. Pulse still says sometime in like March or April. But have you guys gotten any of that wave yet? I don't think so, right?
No.
But,
oddly, I had an email the other day saying your IG-12 is coming soon, and that's still marked for April. So I don't know what's going on there. That was from Pulse. So I don't know if they've just got some mixed messages, but yeah, I've had nothing on the new wave yet.
Are you still waiting for stuff from last year, Lewis?
No, they literally arrived on that last week of the year. So yeah, I just squeaked them in. But
okay,
yeah, it was a slow drip.
Cool. I picked up my last orders, my last deliveries. I had to pick those up on the 31st at 4 p.m. That was a fun one for sure. So really squeaked in there. Let's see.
Well, Hasbro did just make us all feel like Ebenezer Scrooge this past Christmas because we were all visited, not by 3 ghosts, maybe if you bought 3, but at least 1 ghost, between 1 and 5 ghosts. So yes, the second most recent TVC HasLab finally shipped out to most of us. with some collectors getting emails that theirs will arrive the week of January 13th. Yeah, some people I see in the chat there. Ghost is MIA. It's ghosting you. Ha ha ha. But any fun interest? I'm sorry, I had to get the puns have already started, folks. It's another year of March Madness fun. So I think Lewis, you got yours before any of the rest of us, right?
I did, and I still haven't opened it. I mean, I took the figures straight out. As you know, we did a couple of reels on SWTVC, but yeah, at the moment I'm supposed to be packing stuff, and my wife just gave me a look like, you are not opening it. You know, you're supposed to be putting stuff away, not doing. So yeah, it's still in the box. I'm really looking forward to opening it, but not just yet.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to tell you both got at least one open. It looks like.
Yes.
Yeah, I finally got mine for this stream. I was not able to display mine for our year-end wrap-up, but it's here now. I was going to take a bunch of pretty pictures and, you know, the before and after of assembly and all the carded things and all that, but I was running out of time this morning and needed to get at least some sleep before the stream because I work overnight tonight. And I was like, screw it. So I one hand bubble crush and twist everything right off the card. And no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I just ravenously opened them, and part of me was like, what are you doing, dude? You can't do this. But I did it anyway, like a savage.
Let them breathe.
They're too good. They're too good to leave on a card.
Yeah. Well, that's why you get multiples.
I left Zeb on the card just because he's so similar. I know he's not the same. I know.
Those different shoulder pads. Wow.
Smiling face. Yeah. The for displaying mine, I ended up I think Bosk's Bounty posted about it, was the guitar stand. There was a link to one on Amazon that was super cheap. It works great. So
yeah, he's been.
Thanks, Bosk, for the tip. That's awesome.
Good. Thanks to that tip, I've been using that for my Galaxy's Edge Falcon, and it's great. And you know, the footprint on the shelf is nice, or on the ground. So I'll probably have to do the same for the Ghost. So I'm glad people have been posting about that. I see, Miko posted that his in-laws watched him unbox it while his wife went to bed. Weird, but okay.
It is so funny.
I was on vacation because we didn't get any notice about this until like we got label created on December 11th, and then no news from Hasbro or FedEx or anybody for weeks. And then I got an email. They're like, "Hey, it's coming today," and I was like, "I'm on the other side of the country. It's Christmas week, guys." Tried to get it rerouted to a FedEx delivery manager. My in-laws got to see me freak out about $1,000 worth of giant toys on the other side of the country. And so we're all.
It is giant too.
Yeah. So my neighbors at the apartment, they slid it down the hall to their apartment, and then had to get them some wine and chocolates to say thank you, more than I do for Valentine's Day. But yeah, I had to shove them all the way across to the other side of the apartment the other day. So I haven't opened them yet in true fashion. Keeping the tradition going, and maybe I'll open it in 2 years or something. But had to get March Madness off the ground before. Hopefully soon I can open it. But yeah, Evan, you had to pick up 5 of yours, right?
Yes, that was a delight. That was.
Did you make all 5 of them in one trip?
No. So luckily, one came in early, and then another one came in a day afterwards, and then the last 3 came in on the 31st on that last day. And dude, I barely got them in my car. I just scooped my driver's seat up, and I was just hunched over, and I was like, it was
driving like a little old lady in your car.
Oh, it was horrible.
There was someone, wasn't there, who posted, somebody who posted they had about literally 30 of them, I think, delivered.
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook.
Picture. I can't remember who it was who had them, but
somebody calculated it was like 18 or 20 grand.
Yeah, it literally must have had like their own delivery truck. I mean, that thing must have been full.
Yeah, that was insane.
You know, Riley Bob
millions of dollars on reselling them. I don't know.
Right? He's going to turn $18,000 into $19,000. Riley Bob made the crack about me living in my ghost boxes. I'm really stoked that there were 2 really big boxes for each ghost, so that's 10 big boxes to live in. I'm living in a box condo soon. I cannot wait.
He's going to start renting out units soon for profit.
Yeah. I'm going to be a cardboard slumlord. It's gonna be awesome. Oh man.
Nice. Any more thoughts on it? Or should we get to the exciting recent reveal?
just
Well, I was just gonna say I had to go pick mine up at my local FedEx because like you, I was traveling, so I had them hold it on location. And I was just struck when they wheeled it out on a dolly for me by this enormity of this thing. I was like, oh, I didn't realize it was that big. Everybody kept saying it's
Yeah.
big, it's really big, and I was like, yeah, but
it's big.
it's
And then you go to pick
it's
it up,
really big.
and then you try and pick it up like a man, and you just go like,
Yeah,
it's not heavy. Yeah.
I'm not kidding. My spine is a little compressed. It's a little ouchy. Shocker. I'm not a very fit guy, so lifting 5 of those was not super easy. And I had to do it again today to move these around for this. So
Wow.
I dollied it onto my car, and it wouldn't fit in my back doors, so I had to put it in the trunk and put the seats down, the back seats down. And then when I got home, it was a struggle getting it inside, and I was like sliding it across the floor. It was just. It's 50 pounds isn't that heavy. It's just the fact that it's so big,
Yeah.
your arms don't even like go around it. It's awkward.
very.
I just shoved it down the hallway, and I was like, "That's my cardio for the next."
I got to say though, just to put a button on it, we campaigned hard for the Ghost. We celebrated the Ghost. We did multiple streams, podcasts, whatever about the Ghost. It is awesome to finally have it here. This thing is a marvel. It's maybe my favorite thing in my collection, full stop. It is awesome. I mean, comes with amazing figures. This is maybe my favorite figure ever. I thought it was going to be hard to top the previous Kanan. It's really great to just see this finally come to fruition, man. It's a dream item. It's got a lot of support in the line. We need more, of course, and that's what March Madness is for, maybe. It's really just friggin' awesome to have. So I'm stoked for everybody who backed it. I hope everybody gets there soon. It is so much fun, man. I keep spending time just like looking at it and like taking the pieces off and rearranging and putting stuff in it. It's a magnetic piece of the collection. I cannot stay away from it. It's very similar to how I felt with the barge when that showed up, of just wanting to open it up and put it back together and open it up and put stuff in. And with the Razor Crest getting, luckily we didn't have to get angry with a weapons chest on this one. That was maybe my least favorite part of the Razor Crest. But yeah, so I'm stoked. Get the Ghost, got the Ghost. It's here, it's done.
Nice. So
just a note real quick for our photographers, oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, every weekend we have world building weekend, and we post pictures of vehicles and dioramas and world building environments and stuff like that to showcase the strength of the scale. One of our weekends here, I think it's actually next weekend, the 11th and 12th, we'll be doing a special event called Post Your Ghost. So we'll be reposting a lot of ghost pics from the community, and we'll continue to do it even after that for those of you that aren't getting it until I think another shipment's going out on January 13th. But just so you know, if you want to get some ghost pics in this week, we'll try to feature them next weekend. So, all right, I'm done with my spiel.
Cool. Nice, real quick, I just saw this. Congrats.
Yeah, congrats. Welcome to the madness.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to say, I saw Chris Swansky join. Thanks for joining us. I saw Daniel Georgie join. So thanks to everyone who keeps coming in. It's awesome to see everybody here. All right. So on the last live stream, which I was not on, you guys got to show your excitement about the Heir to the Empire 3-pack. And as if someone heard our discussion about a certain character and his tooling status leading into March Madness, to close out the Gift the Galaxy program, Hasbro followed it up with another absolute banger, the Journey of Anakin Skywalker 3-pack. With 3 Anakin/Vader figures. The first of which is Anakin Skywalker in his Clone Wars armor, based on VC 347 Anakin Skywalker, which is in the wave, due any day now. And thank God, Scargate is over. They added his scar. They also added a cape, which seems to be based on a look seen in behind-the-scenes footage from the Ahsoka series, probably on that 4K Blu-ray. Maybe I'll watch that in 5 years.
Have this. It made me think of this comic from last year, which was awesome.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
But so it also matches kind of his look from the Genndy Tartakovsky micro series. That had more brown like this. This figure has more blue like the 3D Clone Wars series, which that specific look has never been made as a figure.
That's 100% a happy accident. That's
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah, they
interesting,
were.
right? Because I had this like this Mandela effect moment because Hot Toys put out a version just like this when they were doing the Anakin with the stap. I don't know, 6 scale collectors will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But I was like, did he wear that cape at any point in the actual cartoon? Did he wear it when he was, riding on the staff? Did he wear it in the Clone Wars movie, before the actual show? And you guys were like, no, he never wore that. It's just kind of a nod to the Tartakovsky
Well,
series.
because I wonder if a lot of the designs from the Tartakovsky series were kind of carried over and a little bit into the animated series, like his chest armor in general. But I think they had limitations with animating cloth at the time, so they got rid of some of the capes and cloaks and stuff. So you didn't see a ton of those for a while. But anyway, great figure. Excited for it improves on a figure that we were already looking forward to. So we already got the scar. So if you want to take the cape off, you can, or swap the scar head to the other head or whatever. So, all right. Next up, perhaps the most exciting in the set is quote-unquote Darth Vader, or Anakin Skywalker, in his Revenge of the Sith outfit with Sith eyes, yellow and red, and a red lightsaber. So this is also from the Ahsoka series, and they can kind of say, it's from Revenge of the Sith, but, it's inspired by his look exactly in the Ahsoka series. And if you wish that he came with a blue lightsaber instead of a red one to better match Revenge of the Sith, guess what? He literally does. It's in this set. Take it from the other Clone Wars Anakin, and there you go.
I know y'all have baggies upon baggies of spare Anakin lightsabers anyway, so don't give me this. I don't have one. Like, come on. Like, we all haven't been stockpiling them since like 2002. Get out of here. Come on.
It made me think of the Revenge of the Sith figure where that's his lightsaber, but with a red blade, which they then did a running change to be, sorry for the ring reflection there, Dooku's lightsaber in the running change. So back when they used to make figures well before a movie came out. So
you said you weren't prepared. You were so prepared. You got a variance of figures from 20 years ago.
That's the end of it. That's the last of the things I prepared for this. It's over. It's done. Whoopsie doops.
But yes, he has that great additional force hand. Yeah, and as Miko says, hopefully we can get him carded with a robe, or presumably it seems not that difficult to imagine that they will eventually release a non-Sith Eyes version, which we have been, excited about and campaigning for, and he did really well in March Madness and Last Figure Standing. He was let me look at we're getting lists already. That's awesome to see. Thank you guys. He was number 4. He was number 5 last year. So yeah, very exciting to see him already. And of course it reuses the legs from the Clone Wars version right there. So yeah, very good, very good. Finally start getting some of these, dare I say, iconic characters up to modern standards. And then I'm excited to pose him with Dooku, and with Ahsoka from. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
as George once said, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
All right.
All right. Darth
Does
Vader.
anybody have any thoughts on?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, does anybody have any thoughts on the soft goods lower tabards being a different material than the torso?
I don't.
Those remind me
like
of
it.
They remind me of the original
like
Evolutions pack from 20 years ago, which this feels like the spiritual successor to, which had episode 2, 3, Anakin's and Darth Vader, but the episode 2 one had his entire tabards made in this material, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, I did not care for it so much.
But this, it doesn't, I don't know. We ask them not to limit posing, and then I don't know.
I think this looks better than the Luke. I don't know why it just seems to tie in better than the Luke that we got recently, but I wasn't a huge fan of that. Especially once your eye sees it as a, like a waiter's apron kind of thing. And then I find it hard to unsee it. I think it's hard to unsee it. So with this, I don't know. That image to me doesn't look terrible. I mean, in hand, it may look different, but time will tell, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks terrible, but
no.
I hope if they do, like a light side version of Anakin, different head, blue lightsaber robe or whatever, I wouldn't mind if they did a plastic skirt on a different version. So we have one of each.
Yeah.
I like the
Same with
aesthetics
Leia.
more of the plastic skirt. Yeah, same with Leia. Like the other way around, to go from plastic to soft heads. And So
they're now going to do that on every single figure we ever get is the soft goods and a plastic.
The soft goods were so nice, you bought it twice.
So. All right, so the third and final figure in the set is Darth Vader, the Emperor's Wrath version, based on the VC 241 Dark Times Vader from a couple years ago, or maybe more accurately, the VC 280 Death Star 2 version with the removable right hand. And yes, there was a little controversy here, as there always has to be. The boxed image shows him with the correct Return of the Jedi style gloves, but the loose images show him with the A New Hope and Obi-Wan Kenobi series gloves from the Dark Times figure. The boxed images are usually more reflective of the final product, so fingers crossed on this one. But it's really messed up. You can just take it, pop his head off, put him. Yeah, I have faith as well,
Emily's pretty good at detail, isn't she? We hold her feet to the fire quite often, and I have faith that she's probably looked at enough images to get that right.
Yeah, and if they didn't, if by some mistake something happened, you can just pop his head onto the Death Star 2 Vader, and there you go. It's perfect. So
yeah,
no problem.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So yeah, this includes the lightning effects and a helmet with the visible skull in there, which is awesome. And Emperor's Wrath Vaders have been done before, most recently in the 2012 VC 115 figure, but this is the first time on the updated body. So yeah, I like how they did a little bit of newness on 2 of the figures and then a lot of newness on 1 of the figures, kind of similar to the Joruus sets. I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I think that even though it's a figure that we've had before that was literally labeled Emperor's Wrath. What was it? VC 115? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that now that we have this definitive Darth Vader figure that's pretty much going to stand the test of time forever, pretty much. I mean, I say that maybe 20 years from now, I'll be like, this is the turd, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. But
throwing it off the balcony,
throwing it into my garden like Kiwi Man. But I'm glad that they're continuing to pump out pretty much every version that there is to pump out of Darth Vader on this new sculpt. So I welcome this. I think the translucent helmet is great. And there's still a ton of Darth Vader, potential. They can do, what is it, the Infinities one that's white. They can do one of the big ones I've been pushing for is a Revenge of the Sith one. All you really need is a new head and a new card back. That beautiful card back that I've shared like 50,000 times that John made. Right?
If only there was an anniversary.
Easiest repack like ever, but whatever. Anyway. So that they can do a lot more. The Rebels Vader, yep.
I think I'm the first. I often say I like new stuff before redos. I'm glad that they've updated that particular Vader to match all those new ones that we've got, and I think this set is the perfect way to do it because I wouldn't want to see it coming out, as a single figure in a mainline wave. I think if you're going to do it, do it in these sets because it's just the best way to get these little variants out that we all love. But without kind of interrupting the the flow of what else we want.
Yeah.
And it helps to cost out the pack so they can have more newness on the Revenge of the Sith one, and then that will lead to more versions as well. So yeah.
And if they don't card this Emperor's Wrath version, the original one will probably retain its value better.
True.
Potentially. So I know a lot of people do care about that. So
Anakin was my number 1 seed or number 1 pick for March Madness last year. So I was really stoked to finally get one, guys. Felt good. Really stoked to see that. And I was worried that, we wouldn't see an Anakin on new tooling. So it's really nice to get, new torso and everything. It's great. It's great.
Mm-hmm. And like Lewis is.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And you'll see with my list, and you've seen before, but I love new stuff and never before made figures. But seeing the quality of some of the figures in the past year, like Dooku, Jango, and Leia, like updates to these the main characters is obviously important, as many people have been saying. The Make the Mains campaign and all that. So as much as I push for never before made figures, it's nice to see the main characters, especially for new collectors, to entice more people to get into the line. So.
I mean, you just can't deny that the quality is just blows stuff we used to have out of the water. And I Bantha Skulls, I believe, is the creator of the the Make Domains campaign. And they're so right that definitive updates to these main characters is so important for shelf presence and just for the being attractive to the line, both to new people and also people that maybe, especially photographers, I think, right? A lot of photographers want to take pictures of the main characters like Anakin and a bunch of clones, right? And for so long, TVC has lagged behind the Black Series in terms of the quality level of and the photorealism of those essential main characters that people want to photograph. And so people have defaulted to Black Series for many, many years because they've been better when it comes to a lot of essential characters. And I think that now TVC putting these definitive main characters out, it's really going to be a big game changer. I think it's going to attract a lot of new people into the line, a lot of photographers, and that's what we want. We gotta expand that consumer base and up those profits so we can get more tooling money, right? That's what we all want. So I think this is a possibly a turning point for the lines, and time will tell, but it's a big thing, big moment. And the New Hope mains are obviously a part of that as well. But
let's hope
Anakin as well is.
Let's hope these mains don't end up fan channel. They do the single carded versions. We need them on shelves too.
Yes, yes. But, casuals aren't on Entertainment Earth.
Yeah,
they're at Walmart and Target, so they probably don't even know Entertainment Earth exists.
I wasn't on the. Let me give my full entire 2024 recap thoughts because I wasn't on the last stream. Not really, but looking forward to 2025, the fact that we have an all new Luke and an all new Anakin because he took new parts from different things, up to modern standards versions of characters from all across the saga. It's awesome to see that's happening, which is something that people have been asking for a long time. So finally, it's happening. All right, so try as we might to delay it, March Madness is right around the corner, so should we get back to it?
Let's do it.
All right, so if you've been following, I'm going to give a little history, but if you've been following, you've heard a lot of this before, so bear with me. But I wanted to refresh our memories. If you're new, welcome. And to all, thank you for joining us as we start the 5th year of TVC March Madness, which is hard to believe. So, we all have figures we want to see in the vintage collection. And we've all been asking Hasbro about these in one way or another over the years on forums, at conventions, in letters to magazines, as shouts into the void. There have been official and unofficial fan polls, all of them great snapshots of people's desires and demands over the years. We kind of wanted to throw everyone's wish lists together to see what the common refrains were, to see what comes out on top, to hopefully bring us all just a little bit closer to getting our dream figures. Maybe not making everybody 100% happy, but hopefully coming closer to making more people a little bit more happy. Maybe is that such a bad thing in this world? VARs, okay, people. Most importantly of all, we wanted to celebrate our love of Star Wars collecting with others who love it too, which is the best part of all of this. So how do we do this? Well, as you know, or maybe you don't know, but every year we ask for your top 25 most wanted all new TVC figures throughout January, assign them points based on their rankings, on your rankings, and then crunch the numbers and make a lot of graphics in February. Evan and I have already been making a lot of graphics, Evan especially, and then have them compete against each other in a fast-paced elimination-style bracket in March. That was Evan's idea. This is about what figure you want to see first, not what figure you want to see at the expense of any other, since any figure that places in the bracket is worth making. With thousands of characters that get submitted every year, it's a badge of honor. I was doing my own personal top 25 earlier today. I was stressing, I was sweating, I was struggling. There was a deadline because we wanted to show it on the stream, and I could have easily made a top 5,000, but
Yeah.
So, and yes, I love this logo, Evan. You made this logo with the 5. It's 2025. It's the 5. It's it's great, beautiful. Get that Roman numeral going. Star Wars style.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. Great job. Great job.
Thanks,
with that.
really good. Thanks.
And that opening video was.
You gotta know the history and then move forward. It's good.
Yes.
So,
don't.
Speaking of knowing the history.
Yes. Wow. The segues are on point as always. We're going to take a look back at the previous tournaments to see trends and Hasbro's progress. We'll be sharing the brackets and top 100 lists on our Instagram page throughout the month at SWTVC. So we won't be going over that in super excruciating detail right now, but you can find some of this information in our story highlights right now if you don't want to wait for later this month. But so starting off in 2021, taking you back if you can remember all that far back, Mandalorian Season 2 had just ended. The Razor Crest campaign ended a few months in the rear view. We got about 125 lists. Bo-Katan Kryze was the #1 ranked choice as well as the tournament winner. She had been in Clone Wars a decade earlier, and she had just reappeared into live action for the first time. She was released less than a year later, so she was clearly already in development since it takes at least 12 to 18 months to develop and release a figure. But this is a way to show Hasbro support for not only the winner, but for every other figure on the bracket, and to see where Hasbro's priorities line up with collectors' priorities. So it's to that end, it's valuable to look at both the initial January submission rankings as well as the March tournament, which we will do right now. So from the initial submissions, all of the top 20 have been made. That's awesome. And a total of 40 from the top 64. 40 figures from the first bracket are now in our collections or on the way soon. So from the bracket side of things, Hasbro has made all of the final 4 from that first year. 7 of the Elite 8 still need Savage Press, who unfortunately is joining Black Series first this year. Tisk tisk on you, Hasbro, for doing that. They've made 12 of the Sweet 16, so we still need Savage, plus Palm Krell, Gar Saxon, and the Jedi Temple Guard. And they would all be awesome to see in the line. So, not to say Hasbro doesn't still have a lot of work to do, but it's fun to look back a few years later and see how much progress has actually been made. We all say, you never make what I want, you're never going to make these figures, and the top 20 have been made, and a lot of them from the bracket. So that's awesome to see. And as Tanith says, 52 of the top 100. I haven't gone through the top 100 and refreshed all of that this year, but pause the streams later and check that all out if you want to. So that was the first year. It was fun. We said, let's keep doing this. 2022, Book of Boba Fett was airing. People had mod fever. And the Razor Crest was arriving right around this time.
Oh God!
That year we got about 430 lists, with Count Dooku as the #1 ranked choice, with the Dark Trooper, A New Hope, Luke and Leia, and Director Krennic rounding out the top 5. Don't worry, we didn't have an Imperial officer in the line yet. The #22 ranked Kersantin, who was also on Book of Boba Fett, won the bracket very narrowly against #48 Pre Vizsla, which was right around the time we were about to start getting a bunch of Mandalorians in the line, showing again the power of Clone Wars characters in this tournament, and what happens when certain sections of the fandom have someone to rally behind, which we'll get into that later. But from the list submissions, Hasbro has made the top 12. 17 of the top 20 from that list. We still need Baze Malbus, The Client, and Sweet Sweet Simalu. 21 of the top 25 still need those guys, plus the Second Sister Inquisitor, and 33 of the top 64. So more than half the bracket from 2022 has now been made. And so from the bracket tournament, Hasbro has made the final 4, 7 of the Elite 8, just like the first year, but we still need Asajj Ventress from the Elite 8 to complete the 2022 Elite 8, and 13 of the Sweet 16. So we still need Ventress, plus Saw Gerrera and Tech. And a lot of these names you will see, they keep recurring year after year. So next year, 2023, which is somehow now 2 years ago. Oh boy, time, it's always confusing to me. Bad Batch Season 2 was airing, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor had aired within the previous year, since the previous tournament, impacting some of the character choices. So we got about 670 lists that year. Princess Leia was ranked #1, with Luke very close at #2 from A New Hope. But the #3 ranked Count Dooku ended up winning the tournament against his apprentice, Asajj Ventress. So from the submissions, Hasbro has made the top 6 and 8 of the top 10. So still need Luthen Rail and Baze Malbus. There he is again. 16 of the top 20 still need the above, plus Saw Gerrera and The Client. And 27 of the top 64. So not quite half the bracket yet, but we're only 2 years out from it. So, give them time. Keep pushing for those figures that you want. From the bracket, Hasbro has made 3 of the final 4, 7 of the Elite 8, still need Asajj Ventress to complete both, and 13 of the Sweet 16, still need Ventress, plus Saw Gerrera and Palm Krell, who you will be hearing about again in a minute. One of the Elite Eight that we never really expected to get made was the Tonica sisters, who people have been pushing for decades, who also won the first Last Figure Standing tournament in 2023. This is put together by John Miko from the TVC Facebook group, Tim from Bosk's Bounty, and Chris from Bantha Skull. Some of you guys are in the chat today.
Cheers to you
they
guys.
asked for Yes. So they asked for your top 10 lists without a ranking, and then held a tournament where voting whittles it down from the top 10 over a few weeks to the Last Figure Standing. A little bit different way of looking at the data, more condensed to the top 10 instead of the madness of the top 64. So here, the Tonicas won, although Balin's Skull got the most submissions, which is true for us in another thing, but we'll get to that in a second. So I haven't done my research, but how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8 of those are already in the line. That's awesome. Still need Luthen and Ventress. Common names. We keep hearing about these guys. Let's get them done, Hasbro. I'm tired of saying Luthen. It's hard to say. Luthen up. So Balin's Skull got the most submissions in Last Figure Standing 2023, which is also true for March Madness in 2024, which, wow, doesn't 2024 seem like it was just like 4 or 5 days ago? Wow. Anyway. But by this point, Mandalorian Season 3 and Ahsoka Season 1 had aired. Bad Batch Season 3 aired between February and May, so it overlapped with the tournament, but not the list submissions. And the Ghost HasLab campaign had ended just a few months prior. Last year, we got around 1,218 list submissions. Let's try to beat that again this year.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Balin was ranked number 1 and made it into the championship, but ultimately fell to Krell, number 15, Pong Krell. Partly since I think people sort of assumed Balin was a given at a certain point, but do not assume anything, Obi-Wan. So there you go. First impression of the stream. Within the past year, from the submissions, Hasbro has released or announced the top 5. Pretty good. 8 of the top 10, as with 2023, we still are missing Luthen and Baze. And 10 of the top 20, with nothing lower ranked than that being made from the bracket so far. And from the bracket, Hasbro has released 2 of the final 4. Still need Asajj Ventress and the winner Pong Krell, but Balin and Shin are at least pipelined, so they're coming at some point this year, we assume. Yeah. 3 of the Elite 8 still need those, plus Wrecker, Baze Malbus, and Echo. And they've made 5 of the Sweet 16. We still need those we've mentioned from the above, plus Crosshair, Jedi Temple Guard, Plo Koon, Kelleran Beck, Tech, and Luthen Rail. And then the second annual Last Figure Standing tournament recently wrapped up. Arlyle Shoos took it all, but the stranger posed some danger, and 2 of the 10 characters have already been announced in Anakin and the Surprise Snowtrooper. 2 of the 12, excuse me. Anakin.
Man, what a surprise that was.
Yes, that was so fun
both
to see
of
that.
them, both of them actually, yeah.
Yeah, and the Snowtrooper has did well in Last Figure Standing. It's been on the bracket, I believe, 3 of the 4 years in the past, so it was awesome to see. And then, I said this at some point. We're not saying that Hasbro is only making these figures because of these polls or anything by that measure. But, again, if it lines up, if it nudges them in a direction to make a figure that they were, thinking about, awesome. If it says, good job, you're on the right track, you're already making the figures we want to see, awesome. If they make the figures we want to see and they don't even pay attention to us and it just happens to line up that they make all of our hopes and dreams come true, that's awesome. So whatever it is, still doesn't hurt to keep showing your enthusiasm for the line and telling them what you want to see. So not saying hashtag you're welcome, but it's nice to just look at, when they check the figures off of our wish lists is awesome to see.
Whether it's a nice, happy coincidence or not, the fact of the matter is progress is being made.
Yes.
It's quantifiable in the numbers. We can see that, at least it appears that they are, listening and watching intently. We know they're watching intently. How much they actually decide to act on based on that data is anybody's guess. But it seems to align when they keep knocking out the stuff that, tends to rise to the top in the tournaments every year is the stuff that they seem to be attacking, right? If I'm getting that right.
Yeah.
How many cases of snowtroopers? I don't know how many cases makes 100. It was like $2,000. Anyway,
John, this is where I put
when that one hits the card.
Now you know how I felt when I got the Ghost. John, this is where I put the graphics for the unmade characters who appeared on amount of years. Do you want that now or later?
Let's do it now. So yeah, so overall there have been 118 unique characters on the bracket. 53 of those have been made as TVC figures. So for the ones that haven't been made, this graphic, our pinned post on Instagram, details how many years these characters have been on the bracket, since that is another way of looking at the data, from the top ranked submissions to how they perform in the bracket to how many years they have been on the bracket. And yes, we are trying to get this information out there. I don't know the best way to do that, but we have these posts, and we will be updating these posts once we have the new characters this year. But yeah, which ones will appear again? You see, some have appeared 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years. Like the Snowtrooper was one I had to remove because he was on there 3 years and he's been made. Some characters that were on there all 4 years were like Luke, the Tonikas, Old Ben, Hammerhead. They all made them. So some of the top ranked characters, they just keep getting knocked out, which is awesome to see. So don't give up hope. Keep asking. You know, they do, you know, take notice or line up with these things, whatever. It all gets made eventually. The stuff that rises to the top anyway. So which of these will appear again? Will new characters... which new characters will appear this year? Will recent shows like Skeleton Crew and The Acolyte sway the votes? Will being shut out of the episode 1 25th anniversary celebration mean it's finally time for a championship, Kitster versus Wald? Who will take it all? I don't know. I saw Tanith, God bless you. That's how you put Kitster and Wald as number 1 and number 2. Love you, man. Thanks for doing that. So that's all up to you. We got to lay down some ground rules, some guidelines, but submit your list at the link. Feel free to share the link in the link tree. We tried a bit.ly, it wasn't working. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But we have a link. It's in we just posted them in the Facebook groups, Miko's Facebook group, as well as the Modern 3.75 inch Vintage Collection Facebook group. Trying to get that link out there. We'll keep posting it more places. If everybody who can share it, but it's in our link tree along with some other goodies for you there to celebrate March Madness.
Yep, we've
I'm
obviously
sure
got
Bantha Skull is
in
going
the
to
corner.
share it. JTA has agreed to. Oh my goodness!
All my figures are falling off my shelf right now. It's exciting.
JTA is participating, so they'll be collecting lists over there. Yakface will probably repost it. He always does. He's pretty great about that. So all that to say, if you're on the internet in some way, you're going to see this, and you will have ample opportunity to hit that list or hit that link and submit your list over the course of the whole month. We kind of glazed over it earlier, but we talked about it briefly. But every year we've gotten more and more participation when it comes to the list gathering. Last year we got a little over 1,200 lists, which is awesome. I'd like to hit 1,500 this year if we can, maybe even 2,000 if we're really ambitious. I don't know if we can achieve that, but the more you guys share your lists on different platforms, and people are like, oh man, that looks cool, I'm gonna do my list too. Last year when I was scrolling through Instagram, I probably saw hundreds of people's template lists, which we'll be showing here in a minute, I'm sure. But share it, encourage others to do it, and share it throughout the whole month. We want to gather as much data from as many collectors as possible to represent, like I said, as much data as possible. So
yes,
thanks for sharing those lists is all about what creates the conversation around these things. And that's where it's not just about the tournament, but it's about creating these conversations about what figures people want to see, and what's rising to the top of people's lists. And that's why I like the conversation that comes out of people posting their own lists.
Yeah. And this was why I just wanted to share. This is what you get when you go to the link. This is our link tree. You'll be able to, submit your list here. This is where it counts. This is the form. You need to put everything in. Here are some graphic templates there. We'll walk through those a little bit later. But this is...
Yes. It's important to note, again, please do share your list in comment sections on Bantha Skull or Yakface or wherever it is that you're on Facebook, social media, in any way. But those lists are not going to count unless you go to this link and submit it officially. So please don't forget to actually submit your list. Please talk about it online and in comment sections, like I said, but it's not going to count unless it's submitted at that link. So
absolutely. So yes, gone are the days where I scour the internet. Gone are the days where I scour the internet every night between February and March to find every single list on every single random website and comment section. So please post to the link. Because Last Figure Standing did that, and it showed it could work really well. So we adopted that last year, and it worked out beautifully, and it made my life a lot easier.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
all right, next is you have to, as we said, you got to rank your choices in order with your most wanted at number 1 on the submission sheet. You can see how many points they get. But yes, it does count. I know sometimes it's hard to do it, but most wanted has to go at number 1. Please be specific. If the character has multiple looks, please specify the outfit, scene, and or media property they are from. Speaking of and or, one example is Mon Mothma, who now has a lot of different versions. Please say which movie or series version you want. We might end up combining some of the very similar ones, but for now, please specify. That was something we did last year. Her Return of the Jedi and her Rogue One outfits are the exact same, but obviously it's a different actress's head sculpt. I don't know what we do with this sort of thing, but they release one in a multi-pack with Cassian for the 9th time, and they do another one with Admiral Akbar for the 18th time. So that'll be great. I don't know. Be specific. We'll see what happens. But please do 1 character per slot. Do not list multiple characters on a single line, such as the Bad Batch. Of course, as always, there are some exceptions here, like the Tonica sisters that were grouped into 1 in years past. So I don't know if, Evan, you have images for these guys or not.
I do.
But 2 tubes, 1 entry. I can't tell them apart. Sorry, Benthic and Edgerio. They share some parts. They don't share all the parts, but if you want one, you probably want both. So let's not get into one guy puts 1 on their list, another guy puts 2 on their list. Let's just all put 1 that says 2 tubes on our list if you want them. Next up, Gela twins. They're identical twins. They're 1 entry, obviously. No need to put Ann and Tan on separate lists. The Great Mothers from Ahsoka, the Night Sisters of Peridea, whatever you want to call them. There are differences in their outfits. And I think Tyler is one of about 3 people that will actually put him on his list. God bless you, bud. But
so Tyler's giving out free stormtroopers to anybody who puts the Great Mothers on their list.
oh, we're doing bribery now.
Free Captain Enochs up to 30 participants.
Yes, I have lots of Enochs if you want one. Just gotta put witches on your list.
Free Ghost if we get Ben Solo to number 1. Kidding.
So, all right, here's where we separate them. Knights of Ren, we got to separate them. They're all so unique and memorable in their own way. We all know and love them and can name them by sight. But yeah, please separate them because I think there's enough difference there where we have to separate them.
For sure. They're all very different. Yeah.
And then Bad Batch, separate them. But as with the Rebels figures in years past, we will condense and combine the disparate season looks. So if one person votes for Tech Season 1, one person votes for Tech Season 2, we count both of those as Tech. We do keep track of which version you voted for. But if someone votes for, so don't vote for both Season 1 and Season 2 of Tech, because we're only going to count one of those. And yes, this does actually even apply to Crosshair. This is what we did last year, whether it's the Imperial version or one of his good guy versions. Now that he's coming back, now that he came back in Season 3, it's got a lot of different looks with different haircuts and stuff. So just say Crosshair, we get the picture. And they can probably share some tooling across the versions.
Speaking of haircuts. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm flattered.
So cold. You got to wear your sweaters.
Oh.
But yeah, so specify which version you want to see, since we do keep track of that, and we'll make a note of it. But we ultimately condense and combine these guys for the bracket. A weird one, and we can discuss this, but Clone Commandos. So last year, we ended up condensing and combining these. So if you had multiple Clone Commandos on your list, like the different Delta Squad members or the Tantus Security Guard or whatever, we took the points from the highest ranked one on your list and used those, funneling those into the Clone Commando thing on the bracket. We'll probably do the same for, like, you probably won't do an Airborne Trooper because most of that already exists. But stuff like that where it's like, okay, it's all going to be the same tooling, and then they would, if they do one, they'll do 1 million of them.
Just write Republic Commando or Clone Commando. Either one's going to count towards the same thing, and of course from there we can get Delta, Omega, Gregor, the Bad Batch, Mount Tantus Guards, all that stuff, that's all just repaints, but we need the base sculpt. So
so father, son, and daughter, they look nothing alike. They are separate,
all different.
Please.
Yep.
Just because they are a family does not mean they share any. They share DNA, I guess, but they don't share tooling. Okay.
Yes.
What if you want a particular character but don't care which outfit look it is? Then say, I don't know, specify that. Say any. And sometimes we end up throwing the generic. If you don't list it, I end up throwing those points towards the most prominent one or the one that has the most points. in
or
the
their
spirit of
default,
tournament.
which is usually their default appearance, right?
Yeah.
So
So Leia from Obi-Wan. Would you combine her
Chewie
votes?
says hi, guys.
Hello.
Oh, hey, Chewie. Leia from Obi-Wan combine her votes like with adult
across
Leia?
across her different outfits.
Oh, just any of the ones
I
from
think
that series?
yes. I think we did that last time.
Yeah.
And things like, I think like Luthen, we did his different outfits in one because they're all kind of similar. You can yell at us. You can tell us we're wrong. Speaking of that, next rule, the big one, the big conversation piece is focus on new tooling. So as always, this tournament is about new figures, not repacks, repaints, or minimally partially tooled figures anyway. So you guys brought it up on the last stream. You talked about it in the context of Anakin. And people have been talking about this rule on the internet, including on the Rebel Scum forums this week, where I posted this lengthy diatribe that frankly should be printed in the Smithsonian somewhere, but I'm going to repeat it now anyway.
It's good.
Just kind of what my thoughts are on this rule. So we intended March Madness to be about newly tooled figures when we started it 4 years ago. Yikes, time flies. But the spirit of that idea is so that it doesn't become the quote-unquote repack, repaint tournament with nothing but slightly different clone troopers, Mandalorians, Imperial officers, etc. So we all know that Hasbro loves reusing tooling for slight retools and repaints, so you could argue that they don't necessarily need more encouragement to do that. So obviously in those 4 years, we've also seen a great buildup of a more modern tooling library, so that different characters can use each other's arms or legs while still including significant newness. An example would be in the Jabba's Court Denizens pack, which delivered 3 figures from the bracket, Velkin Tazeri, Tame Din Garen, and Tessic, by reusing Cassian Andor and Cal Kestis' legs, Bib Fortuna's arms, which was probably not considered by fans when asking for them. We ask for the figure, then Hasbro delivers them however they see fit. We want to see people's opinions on this subject, especially in light of Arlyle Shoes, who won last figure standing, being revealed to use Jod Nanawood's lower half. Here he is right here. Open him up. Do I have Arlyle Shoes? No, I have Jod Nanawood. There you go. But, not to mention he already won last figure standing. Some people might think the message has already been sent. Others may feel that if he's what the collector community wants to rally around, then we should not exclude him from the bracket just because his generic legs already exist, and that the most interesting and unique parts of him still need fan support to actually be made. And some may feel that Hasbro now knows we want to see him and that it would be a waste to include him since half the tooling already exists. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think? I'm in favor of letting people put whatever they want on their lists, hoping that they'll keep an eye towards new tooling, since that's usually what they do anyway. Some people do 25 different clone troopers, not that many people. Then let the voting happen however it will happen. We have never disqualified any character from the bracket for any reason other than it was revealed between submissions in January and the bracket starting in March. And personally, I don't really want to start doing that now, but I want to hear people's opinions on this. And yes.
Yeah, John, you had put in a note from what I had said last year. I'm just going
what you said last year,
I'm going to reiterate that, but then I also have a little addendum to that. So while we absolutely agree and often applaud partial tools expanding the line in creative ways to achieve new stuff, seriously, we don't take that for granted. It's baked into what can make this line so diverse and exciting. We're just placing a focus on asking for new tools that further expand the tooling library available to make more characters possible overall. It's also to help encourage Hasbro to invest more into the line and expand the amount of newness they offer, and maybe also nudge them to make stuff that isn't as obvious to them. That being said, adding to that, even I'm beginning to lose track of tooling, which is not a bad problem to have, and there is no serious expectation levied upon you, the public, to be just to exhaust yourselves and to feel pressured into becoming tooling experts, because the main rule, John, is
have fun. You're supposed to have fun with this. And maybe you have fun looking at every single different, leg or arm or hand or foot that's been tooled up. Sometimes we do. Sometimes that's how we get our kicks, honestly.
Try to focus on new tooling. If you want a 187th Legion clone trooper, there's no new tooling for that. So probably please don't put that on your list. That's not really in the spirit of what we're asking for, which is not to say we don't want that as well. But it's just try to think, would this need to be an all new figure?
Just looking when John was flicking through those lists earlier, in the top 100, the artillery stormtrooper was actually on there.
Yeah,
it
and a
obviously broke the top
332nd clone
100.
trooper.
Yeah, 332nd. I mean, they didn't break the bracket, I don't think. Neither of them did they?
The
artillery
332nd did. It was in the first year because we didn't have.
So we
Yeah,
did allow that before, but I think at that point it drops away because generally people are seeing, well, actually that figure isn't as important as this. So even if it makes the bracket, I think it's unlikely that a figure that's, you know, a heavy repaint or, you know, a heavy reissue in some way is going to really get that far. But, you know, I'm a believer in, again, let people put what they want. We can always take a view on it if we feel this is something that's really, you know, going to end up in a mess.
Yes. And just highlighting this comment, just listen to the last 5 minutes of everything we just said.
Obviously, the spirit of this tournament is to encourage Hasbro to make new stuff, right? And to request all new figures to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or is there more? Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm seeing some interesting comments. So yeah, thanks for highlighting that.
Right. We don't expect people to be tooling experts and know every last little, you know, arm, leg, and shoe in all of the vintage collection, right? But there are some where it's super easy and we can be like, yeah, we're not going to let that in, right? And that's examples like retools of Imperial officers, retools of stormtroopers and clone troopers, retools of X-wing pilots, right? Like Theron Net, Commander Cody, Tarkin. These are ones where it's like, dude, 90% of the tooling already exists. So in the spirit of a tournament where we are asking people to list all new characters, Commander Cody is not an all new figure now. We have the base sculpt, right? So you know, just do your best, right? But Mr. Hamdam or Hamdam, these have been the rules for 4 and now 5 years now. We're not going to change them now, so sorry. The rules are the rules and they're staying firm. But in a situation where it's like Arleal and it's a really huge community want, and on one hand it kind of breaks the rules in terms of the spirit of the tournament, but on the other hand it's a highly wanted community wanted character. I think what we will probably do, and we'll discuss this as a team, but I think what we'd probably do is put it to a vote to the community and ask the community how they would like us to address this character, right? So would you like us to disqualify this character from the tournament, or would you like us to permit this character in? Again, we've never done this before. We've never had this situation before, but I don't think that we should be afraid to do it, because that's keeping in spirit with sort of the whole point of our own tournament, right? And it'd be a case by case basis, but for the most part, you know, if it's a character which very blatantly and obviously already mostly exists, like 90% of the tooling already exists, like we're just not going to let that in, guys. I'm sorry. You know, so
But
I don't expect anything to rise to the top like that, because you guys know the rules and you're paying attention, right? So
yeah, so we had these same conversations last year where it was like, okay, now we already have a lot of clones, we have a lot of Mandalorians, we have a lot of Imperial officers that people had been putting on the bracket for years.
I don't hear any audio. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So it just didn't happen last year. Like everything was still new that actually made the bracket. Like if Tarkin gets on or something, and it would be like, he just needs a new head and a new front torso. I think then, yeah, we might think about it, but it gets hard. It gets hard to put our foot down completely about this, because Jedi, you know, now that we have Anakin's torso, does that mean every single Jedi is disqualified because it uses a torso?
No,
I don't think so.
No, spoiler alert. Well, I'll touch on that when we get to my list. No, because you know there are some unique things. So again, I view this personally as this is not like a hard, like absolutely not. You can't put that in because it would use this part of a thigh or whatever. Or it just try to keep it in mind when you're making your list. Like again, it's really the obvious ones that we kind of don't want to waste our time with, like the clone repaints, stormtroopers, Imperial officers, Mandalorians, where again, just really saying this again, the stuff that very obviously mostly already exists is not necessarily in the spirit of what we're asking for here. Again, does not mean we don't also want it, but just keep an eye towards new tooling as possible. If you don't know, that's okay. Put it on your list. Like if you want something and you don't think it exists, put it on your list.
Yeah. Just do your best. Just do your best.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna say yes. Tyler, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I say yes. Put Arlisle on your list if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what?
And then-
I'm going to second that. Yes, do it. And then, no, hold on. John Miko, this usually acknowledge the omissions. Yes, we haven't had to do that yet, and we hopefully won't. But of course, we will do that. We very much like to be very transparent with all this stuff.
And yes, as Findor says, I actually changed it to guidelines. Findor Moon says on here.
Yeah.
More like guidelines than actual rules. So
Yes.
where it's about having fun, we don't expect everybody to. If Arlisle is your number one most wanted figure, we don't want to turn you away and turn you off and make you upset because
again,
he uses legs from a character. He uses legs from a character that didn't exist until 50 years after Arlisle did. So,
but I would say Matthew Brazer made a good point at 10:56. If we do let him in, I think it's an important point to make.
Where is it?
So it's my 10:56. Yeah.
But then I also
just of what George wants.
Yeah.
From a loss.
So this, yes, again, you'll see clear figures that are dated. We're asking like a retooled version, like new version. So if you want episode 1 Qui-Gon and Maul, that's still a valid ask because there's not really much that exists at the modern definitive standard for those characters. So they're still eligible. They're not disqualified. Just because a character exists previously doesn't mean it's disqualified. It's just if we're looking towards the modern standard. So if it's outdated, of course, ask for it. Like Simalu, the last time that was made was in the 80s. That's not definitive. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's some people that don't like the current clone sculpt. So if you genuinely feel that strong about it, you can put a new clone sculpt on your list. I mean, it's probably going to be a waste because it's unlikely to be supported by anybody else. But you are entitled to do that if that's something you want that is new. That's not a problem.
If you don't think this is a work of art, then you're nuts, and I feel sorry for you. But anyway.
Yes.
As far as a hard and fast expiry date, no, we don't really have one. I would say sort of the loose guidance is stuff that has been made like TVC 2.0 and forwards.
Yeah.
Probably really doesn't need to be redone because it's pretty damn good. It's got rocker ankles and barbell hips and the works when it comes to articulation. It's kind of hard to get better than that. So again, this isn't a hard and fast rule, but I would say stick to stuff before the vintage collection came back is a general good guideline.
And everybody has
if something came out last year that you absolutely hate and you want it completely redone, be my guest, I guess. Whatever.
Just on this one, I know I'm repeating myself
Speeder Bike
again.
Leia is a repack, so Endor Leia that definitely qualifies for needs a new sculpt.
Just on this, I just want to address this real quick. Again, what we're saying here is it's guideline. Just try to keep it in mind. We're not trying to be hardline, crazy, and discouraging on this. Please put what you want on your list. Again, try not to do that because we already have enough. So again, for example, last year, 1,200 some lists with 25 characters per list. That's a lot of information to take care of. No, we're not going to do an all new tooling and repaint kit bash list. That's a whole different conversation entirely.
If you want to do a repack tournament, that's awesome. I'll participate. I got ideas. As long as the day is long, whatever the expression is. And someone says Scoot9 at 406 your time. It says a newly tooled Han with barbell hips would be nice. That'd be awesome. Guess what? He's coming this year. He was pipeline. So you're in luck, pal. Don't put him on your list. We'll go over the stuff that's coming up soon.
Yes. So please don't get tripped up by the all new tooling rule. Like, please don't get tripped up by that. Please don't think, oh, well, I want this and probably some of it exists, so I'm just going to not do this anymore. No. Please don't. That's not it's fine.
And then
I'll give you an example when it comes to my list too of some wiggle room, so to speak.
Same. I also have a couple on my list as well. So it's okay. You're good. Don't get tripped up by that rule, guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Nine
Just do your
says,
best.
will you guys share a few of your top 25s? So we're going to share all of our top 25s.
Stay
Here,
tuned.
look, pal. We got a few other questions to go through, if that's all right. If we're
clear,
if we're clear as mud on the tooling issue.
Just if you're confused on the tooling issue, just go ahead and rewind again on the replay of this and just watch the last 10 minutes again. I really hope we're clearing this up. So
long story short, put on what you want. If
and you can always reach out to us on our socials too.
Yeah.
If there's any questions.
It's a conversation. So let us know.
If Imperial Cal Kestis with an accurate rank badge is the _1 most requested figure, we'll have a conversation about it. All right. But until then, ask for what you want. Okay. So other questions. What if Hasbro announces a figure from my list? Great. That means that they're making what you're asking for. That is literally the whole point of this whole thing. If Hasbro announces a figure from your list during the submission period, and they might, you can edit your list until 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, January 31st. You have all month. You can also do this if you forgot something or fall in love with a new character or whatever. Maybe you read a comic from 30 years ago and say, I forgot about that guy. I want to put him on my list. You're right. Once you submit your list, you'll get an email. If you include your email, you'll get you should include your email. You're supposed to include your email. You'll get an email with your submissions that you can then click on to edit your submissions if you choose to do so. If you didn't get an email, I prefer you don't do this. You can submit a new list with the same email address. Please let me know that you did that. My Instagram is right there at the Vintage Concepts. But I think it's set to a default. We'll send you an email this year about it. Save it in your inbox, whatever. Default to just editing your list, please, if you need to change it. So if Hasbro announces a figure between the end of submissions at the end of January and the beginning of the tournament at the beginning of March, we will remove that figure from the tournament because they're making it and bump up all the characters one slot. Hasbro does often have a reveal stream in late January or early February. This has happened several years now. This guy was announced during the lists process last year, and some people changed their list to remove Cobb Vanth, and some people did not, but we removed him either way. If Hasbro announces a figure during the tournament in March, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Yes, as Evan wrote, if Hasbro announces a figure right after the tournament, you're welcome. Just kidding. But do we want to talk
basically if it happens during the tournament, I mean, the character would just get disqualified, and whoever they were going to go up against would just move forward, right? I mean,
probably, yeah.
Just real quick, I removed the images just because I wanted to look at this real quick. This is what am I doing? Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. This is the form. This is the submission form. So all of these rules are here for you guys to look at. And we'll just need that. And here's where you put stuff in. Yeah. So
we've already got over 25 lists, which is awesome to see. So keep them coming.
Hey, yeah, right.
So yes, this gives you, if you want, lumpy, holiday special, whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
And again, this is our 5th year doing this, but just to remind everybody, in case there's anybody new here, once again, as you can see there, it shows you how many points each figure on your list, right? As you go from 1 to 25, the point value decreases, right? And those points are tallied up from all the different characters that get submitted, the couple thousand, however many characters that we get. And those points are added up, and that's what determines which 64 characters make it into the tournament. So that's why it's super important to rank them in order from your most wanted to lesser most wanted. And the ranking order is very important.
And that brings us nicely to the next question, which is, do I need to submit a full list of 25 figures? Nope. You can include as many as 25 or as few as 1, but you can only I haven't added some stuff that I don't understand what you're talking about, so I'm not going to read it.
I didn't add anything to that. Don't be crazy.
Okay, anyway.
No, you can include as many as 25 or as few as 1, but you can only list the same character in the same appearance once. In other words, they'll only be awarded those points once. Kind of went over. Don't worry about it. I didn't add that.
I didn't add that. I didn't add that.
Yeah.
So anyway, you can see it's going great. There's a
we talked.
few other interesting questions in the chat. I wanted to see Cardboard Galaxy mentioned. Yes, be aware Hasbro has plans to 2027 already, folks. Well, Steve Evans mentioned that they kind of buttoned up 2026 recently. Plan always in motion is the future. Things can shift or move or be added in. But yeah, if you're trying to get something made, we are playing the long game here. It takes at least 12 to 18 months, sometimes years on end to get things made. Of course, as we just saw with Jeruis coming, 35, 34 years after his debut.
So cool.
And Tanith, no, it has never happened that a character was announced during the tournament. We've had characters announced in January and February that we
Last
had to
year,
remove.
Cobb Vanth.
Yep, and then previously, like Coscar Reeves and a few other characters were announced in February, so we removed them. But not since then. And the first year, we did actually remove some that were rumored, but because again, always in motion is the future. Some characters that pop up on rumor lists on friendly neighborhood websites did not end up coming to fruition, so we are not going to remove any rumors this year. Yes, and then in terms of Chrysanthemum won in 2022, but then he was still allowed in the bracket in 2023 because he hadn't been announced yet. He was announced a few months after the 2023 tournament, I believe.
Yes.
So Ponkrell is still allowed. They, even if somehow they did not have him on their radar at all, and then last year's March Madness made them 100% say, we're going to make that figure because everybody wants him. It'd still take probably a couple of years, 18 months-ish, 2 years to get him in the plans and figure it out and everything. Again, not saying that's what they'll do, but so no, he is not disqualified or anything. And then Reeves says, would the Kashyyyk Trooper or the Galactic Marine be against the rules? No, they are all pretty much unique tooling.
They happen to be on my list, both of them.
Yes.
Spoilers.
That should answer your question.
And Lorena said, is Lumpy in more media than the holiday special? Sadly, not really. He's in a couple of books and comics and stuff, but he should be in everything. Maybe he'll be on my list. I don't know. Let's find out. But yes. So Achilles Music, only one figure is required to submit a list. You can choose one, as many as 25.
And again, it'll email you. So if you do want to add to your list, if you only say put 5 figures in there and then decide, you know what, I do want to do 25, you'll have an email that you'll be able to go back to and edit your list.
Yes, and against my better judgment.
What you can't do though. Yeah. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
Against my better judgment, we added a space in the thread for additional comments. Because sometimes, like in years past, so don't say mean things to me. But if you want to say nice things, that's also acceptable. But in years past, when people would post their comments, they would say, these are all from Rogue One, or these are all from Empire Strikes Back, or whatever. So if you have a note like that applies to a lot of the stuff on your list, that would be nice. I don't really need to hear everybody's thought process on everything.
Yeah.
Love you all, but if it's pertinent to your list, that's what that's all about.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else were you going to say, Tyler?
I was just going to say, what you can't do is list the exact same character in the exact same outfit or appearance 25 times and think that you're going to get them that many points. No, that's not how it works. You can only submit each character one time for however many points you want them to have. So you can't make your entire list, Jedi arrest Palpatine 1 through 25. So
maybe you added it
just
to
so
the,
you
to
know.
the outline. Yeah. So, and Joseph Vogus is asking, is any Star Wars adjacent media off limits? Well, Star Wars is included, so whether that's Legends, canon, animated, live action, new, old, in between, whatever, that's all fair game. Indiana Jones is not included, or anything. Willow is not included, sad to say.
Correct.
There's also another character, another question earlier. Someone asked if Bendu would be okay. So
saw that.
Try to think of figures that fit on a standard mainline TVC card back and bubble. The deluxes are fine too because they're just slightly larger and they have mainline numbering, which I hate. But anyway, they're doing that. That's a thing. So if they fit on a mainline or deluxe card back, that's what's going to be permitted. Big characters like I don't think they could fit a Wampa on a card, right? So like characters like Bendu, they're
that'd be more in the beast
standard
territory.
figure. Yeah. So
yep. Next question on here.
Next question is, your Instagram guys. Do I need Instagram to do this or any other this newfangled social media stuff? Nope. All you need is an email address and a dream. Anyone can click the link and submit a list, and anyone can participate in the March Madness voting. Same thing applies.
Yeah.
Who's Grumgar? I feel like a fake fan.
Fake fan. He's from your favorite movie, The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
He's the big giant guy who sits on the couch with Bazine Natal when Han and Ray and Finn walk in.
Yeah.
He
I think he's a little too big for a stand.
It's like a big boss.
I think you can blame Hasbro for disqualifying him from the main line, not me. All right. So,
but yeah.
So he's basically dressed as Bosk. So next question: why doesn't Hasbro make everything I want? Well, the answer is because they hate you personally. But as you can see, as we tried to lay out a little earlier, they're actually doing a really good job of working their way down the community's most wanted figures, whether by happy accident, whether by whatever. It is happening. So the Rebels crew did really well for a few years on the bracket. Then Hasbro released the Ghost and the crew to go with it. So they did a few season 1 characters. The New Hope main characters then did really well after that, and some prominent Cantina denizens did well as well. And now they're coming alongside a full Cantina. So again, whether that's because they're listening, because they're already aware of this stuff, that's a good thing. They don't have an unlimited budget, unfortunately. They're not making Lumpy tomorrow, sadly, but they are a business trying to make money by making products that their customers want to buy. Shocking, I know. So they are trying to get us stuff that we want.
And that ties back into that earlier comment that was about like, oh yeah, buckle up for the long game. Yes, we know we're 5 years into this, and Hasbro's trying to make progress on this stuff. It's not all going to happen tomorrow. It really is just about seeing where the Hasbro priorities lie and where the fan priorities lie and where those do and don't overlap, and just really trying to provide as much data for them, visibility for them to maybe look at when they are considering these things, just that kind of stuff. So yes, don't be discouraged. I know sometimes it feels discouraging when not everything happens right away, but such is life, such is Hasbro.
We're still crossing off figures from 4 years ago.
Yes.
And still happy about it. Do we want to go back to the 2025 pipelines real quick?
Yes, let's do that real fast.
Okay.
So this is just to kind of look at what we have coming. So while you're making your lists, don't, because we saw that earlier comment earlier of, oh, I want a new Han Solo. Well, congrats. That's coming this year. So you don't have to ask for it. It's happening. Obi-Wan, Hammerhead, Balin, Shin, those guys. Don't worry about it. They're coming. So this is just a refresher to remind you guys what 2025 has in store so far that we know of. So.
Mm-hmm. And somebody just asked, where did Jerus rank previously? Last year he was 72.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't quite make it in.
He got close, but yeah, didn't quite.
I kind of feel he would have been higher this year, but
yeah,
unfortunately, we don't need to worry.
Yeah. So, shall we get on to our lists?
Let's do it. The first one we've got up is Lewis. So we're at an hour and 18, and we're just starting our top 20.
I'm going to blast through it as quickly as I can.
Yeah.
To be fair, a lot of mine lump in groups, so I think I'll probably make it easier anyway to get through it. But yeah, good.
All right.
Okay.
So your first one.
So 25. We talked about him earlier, Ponkrell. For me, yes, he won the tournament. I still think he's important. We haven't heard if he's coming yet. We don't know. So I think he's important to still keep on there and keep in people's minds. I bumped him down to 25, just keep the points low, but just to keep a presence on there, really. So that's why he's on my list. And if you want to go, so 24, 23, and 22, you might just want to do them together. So obviously, Wrecker, Tech, Crosshair, I've got all of those on there. Again, I've pushed them down my list because I feel like we've made a lot of noise for them over the last few years, but I still want to see the Bad Batch. I still want to see them all. I haven't got Echo and I haven't got Omega on there, but for me, these three are representing the Bad Batch that I still want to see. So again, they've come down my list a little bit because I feel like they've had a lot of noise made over them over the last couple of tournaments, but I still think they're worthy. We still need them. They still got to be on there. Mm-hmm. So 21, Neil. I mean, come on.
Yes.
I had to put Neil on my list. I'm loving the Skeleton Crew. I think it's good fun. I like serious Star Wars, but I love fun Star Wars as well. And for me, he just kind of sums up, you know, we need figures like Neil in TVC. I think when we spoke about the 2024 roundup, for me, one of the things that was lacking most last year was just interest in alien kind of characters. We had very few. So I think Hasbro still need to make sure they're trying to get some of these, little quirky characters in there. So yeah, Neil, for me, he's representing the rest of the skeleton crew. I haven't put them all on. I didn't want to use my whole 25 for the whole list of them, but he's representing all of those kids. So, and then 20, I put Captain Brutus. I mean, again, he looks like a real good character. I think he'll look like an amazing action figure. And I think, again, he's another kind of quirky alien. And at the moment, we don't know if we're going to be getting any more Skeleton Crew figures. So, again, I just feel that these two kind of represent that. They show that I'm trying to support that show. And I feel that those, we need some figures. We need more figures from that show. I often give Hasbro the benefit of the doubt when we have new shows on, but I feel like I've had my fingers burnt too many times on that. Andor, I left them off my list because I thought I will get more. We never did. And so I'm kind of with Skeleton Crew, I'm kind of pushing a bit earlier than I perhaps normally would be with some of these shows. So 19 and 18, again, you could do them both together. For me, I'm pleased that we've got the Acolyte figures that we've got. Again, going back to needing aliens or more quirky looking characters, I think Jeki and Kilneka are two that we still need. We'll end up with this half finished crew otherwise, and I think they're important. So again, they're on my list, just representing that. I haven't put the Stranger on my list this year. I feel like he had a good run in last figure standing. So I felt that I would rather push my vote towards these two to kind of represent that show. So yeah, again, they're doing their bit for the Acolyte that I'd like to see rounded off. So 17, been on my list a few times now, is the Corvus Scout Guard. I mean, I don't know what their official names are. They've obviously been in Ahsoka now. They were in The Mandalorian. I think they're really cool looking troopers. I think they would look great as a little squad. They've obviously got some color variations we've seen when they come into Ahsoka with the red. So I don't know if they're a different rank or a different kind of battalion or what, I don't quite know. But I think that there's potential there for a good, decent army builder. And I'd like to see those, whether it was a 4-pack, single carded, I'd love to see that figure in there. So 16, again, Carson Teva. I mean, I think Ahsoka, to give Hasbro credit where we don't often give them credit is I think with Ahsoka, they actually did a pretty decent job of giving us some good figures. I think they gave them to us fairly timely fashion. But Carson Teva, it's mind-boggling that he's still missing from the line. He's been in all of these Mandoverse shows, and yet we still haven't seen a single version of him. So I kind of feel like, why Hasbro? Why have you not given him a figure? I'd take him with the X-Wing suit. I'd take him with the brown jacket. I'd just love to see a version of him. And yeah, come on. He's a Star Wars fan as well. So give the guy a figure.
And this kind of goes, sorry to jump on here, Lewis. He's in an X-Wing costume or X-Wing flight suit, but his body type is different than the figure that we already have completely. You couldn't just slap this head on the little scrawny Luke body. Yeah. So that's why you're asking for it. You'd like them to spend the money to tool up a more variants of an X-Wing pilot body type.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think, again, he's becoming such a pivotal character. I think he deserves to be in TVC.
Mm-hmm.
So 15, again, another army builder is the Pike Soldier. Again, these have been on my list for a few years now, I think. I'd love to see these guys. I'd love to build them out. I like the fact that they've got different color variations, which would make them a good candidate for an army builder pack. And I've been playing a lot of Outlaws lately. And, they show up a lot in Outlaws. So, again, it's just reinforcing for me that, I want to see these guys in the line. And I'd like to see more gaming greats stuff. If they could give it to us as a gaming greats type of figure, whether it's Book of Boba or gaming great, I'd take them any way that they want to give them to us. But, I think that'd be good.
If I can comment on that, that Pike Soldier is the only Book of Boba Fett figure that Black Series has that Vintage Collection doesn't, aside from unarmored Cobb Vanth. But I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he balances scales. Yeah.
Yep.
So 14 again, talking about gaming greats, Greasy Baby. I think Greasy is he's a great figure. He's just good fun. Again, I'm trying to get a few more of those alien-y characters in there. I'd like to see a lot more from Fallen Order and Survivor. I mean, we still don't have Cal Kestis from Fallen Order, but I think Grease would be a good figure to supplement. You know, we've got Cal now at least from Survivor, and I think it would be good to try and build a bit more around him. So again, he's kind of representing for me those games, and I'd like to see more figures from those games. 13 again, I'm still going for the wacky aliens, but again, Frog Lady's been on my list. I mean, what's she, 4 years in a row now? I think she's been on March Madness. She's, you know, she goes with our Razor Crest. We're trying to, you know, we talk about building around these HasLabs, and she's quite pivotal for the Razor Crest. You know, we've seen her in that scene. We've got the other figures that go with the scene with the ice spiders and the Mando and the Grogu with the snow on them. So she kind of feels like she's a missing part in quite a lot of that. I think also on top of that, don't forget she's been in the Cantina. We've now got a Cantina on the way. So she actually backs up 2 HasLabs. And I think she would look quite good in a Cantina display. You know, if you're not too worried about being completely OT in your Cantina and you like to, you know, mix up some aliens, I think she would look perfectly fine in there as well. So again, I think she's a figure that should just inject a bit of fun into TVC. So number 12, again, going back to Ahsoka series, I'd love to see this version of Ezra. I thought he was, it was an interesting look for him that we haven't seen before. And again, it's just one of those where he might be on a list somewhere, he might be being made, but for some reason he's just non-existent at the moment. So I feel like he needs the support. I feel like, you know, don't want this version of him to be forgotten, because when we see him again in next, you know, Ahsoka season 2, the chances are he's going to be wearing a different outfit. He may have had a shave. 100%. Who knows? Yeah, who knows what it's going to look like. Yeah. So I think it would be, you know, good just to make sure we get this version.
Yeah, for sure.
And to support that, number 11, Morak. Again, I know a lot of people were disappointed in his character, but I think he's quite a cool Inquisitor. I think we need more Inquisitors. We don't get enough of them in the line. Again, Black Series seem to get all of these Inquisitor figures, and we don't. And you know, like the character, hate the character, I think we need him to again help round out some of those Ahsoka figures that we've got. But I think also he would just look great, you know, with a bunch of Inquisitors as well. So I just think he's a cool looking character. So number 10. Talking of baddies and you know, missing baddies, is obviously Sith Eternal Palpatine. I mean, it boggles the mind that we don't have the ultimate villain from the you know, Skywalker saga, and it's, you know, yes, you talk about reuse and tooling. I'm sure this figure, a lot of him could be made from other figures we have, because he's got a lot of robes. I think underneath there we could certainly make use of stuff, but you know, this is a figure that Hasbro just should make. Just round off that, you know, Palpatine's kind of, perhaps we get a 3-pack, who knows? But just round off his looks and actually see him in this state. I just think it'd be a cool action figure, really. So
if I can say to the reuse tooling point of the Black Series one, I think on the episode 3 Palpatine, they use like a Luke body, a Jedi Luke body.
The Jedi Academy, the book of Boba Fett, Luke.
Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you know, it's there. It doesn't need 100% new tooling.
And yet it's still on your list.
What?
It is, and I don't care. I don't care.
Exactly.
Well, this is one of those situations where it's like, we don't know what's under the soft goods, right? It could be new, it could not be new. So I think that, you know, that passes the smell test, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly. So again, going to one of the movies that I feel has been left out of TVC for number 9, and that's Solo. So Akira, and the particular version, the Kessel version, is an outfit I think would look great in an action figure form. I think if it's got all the full articulation, she would look, amazing. And I just think Kira again is another figure that she should be in TVC in some form or another. She's a pivotal character, she's a main character, and yet we just don't have a version of her in TVC. So, for me, that's the version I would do. And she's been on my list again for many years and will continue to be on the list until we see her made.
Yep.
Number 8, again, going back to the villains, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Again, there's a lot of people out there. We know what you feel about the sequels. But I think he's a cool character. I don't really like the Kylo Ren version that we have in TVC. It's not a great figure. It's dated quite badly. But I think this particular version, gives us a chance to get a fully updated figure, and one that, we don't have already. We don't have him in 5POA or any version. So, give us that figure. Number 7, going back to Inquisitors again, is the second sister. I talked about the gaming growths earlier. Again, she's glaring whole, and I think she's another one that's been on the list 4 years in a row. Hopefully she can make 5th year in a row. So I think, quite a few of my figures, quite a few of my choices have been on those 4 years running. So they're obviously not quite coming to the top in terms of the ones that Hasbro are making, but you can certainly see there's a consistency with some of these figures like Palpatine, like the second sister, Kylo Ren. All of those figures have done 4 years. So yeah, there's something there. Number 6, Luthen. Again, come on, he's given everything. The man's given everything. We should give him a figure. We need to give him a TVC figure. He's another one for me. Balance the scales. I think Black Series have got a version. We just don't have enough figures from Andor, and I love the show. Yes, perhaps they're not as toyetic, but I still want to see that character made in TVC so that I can put him with some of my other Andor figures. So give us Luthen. Number 5, Evan's favorite, Ben Solo. I know Evans made the argument that if we had a Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, perhaps Ben Solo could be made from that. So there's an argument that you could have one and it would kind of represent both. And this year I did think really hard about taking him off because Evan said that, but I felt wrong taking him off the list. I just feel, again, he's a main character and he just needs to be in the line. I just can't see why we don't have a Ben Solo. Yes, we've got certain other 5POA, figures, but no Ben Solo. It's crazy. So give us him. He's gonna be on my list until they make him. So if you don't like it, it's tough.
God bless you, Lewis.
Give him 2 slots. Get that guy a raise, man.
Yeah, exactly. Number 4. So number 4, and this ties in the game where I was saying about Andor. Melshi. So Sergeant Melshi. I feel like he ticks 2 boxes. We know a lot more about him now because of Andor. So as a character, he's risen up. And again, I feel that makes him worthy of a figure. But I think also he helps to fill some of those gaps that are missing in Rogue One. He could potentially lead to other Rebel Pathfinders. He's not a version we have in any form, where we obviously have Bodhi and Baze in other formats. As I've said before, I always try and go for figures that have never been made in any form. So for me, Melshi kind of ticks that box, and I think he would be a great figure, and I think he could be used for other Rebel Commandos, Rebel Pathfinders, that type of thing. So give Melshi a vote. Number 3, again, sticking with the Andor theme, is Kino Loy, and I just loved his character. I think he's just amazing. I love that story. I love that arc, and I would love to see him in the line. And I would happily take that figure then with new heads, give them an army builder pack. We can build out, we can have a load of prisoners, and we can just make some crazy scenes with, head swaps, and it'd be brilliant. Just, so I'd love to see him in the line.
What was the hashtag that I saw floating around? Was help Kino swim?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ultimate Battle Station was talking about this.
That's right. I love that.
It'd be great. He's
got a great account.
Yeah. So nearly there. Number 2 is the Client, and again, for me, it's just that missing piece for that. Again, we talk about Hasbro giving us these world building pieces. We want to finish them off. We want to build them out. And we've got that Navarro bar, which I love that bar. You know, we've got loads of figures that build around it, but he's just a missing piece. And again, Black Series have him. We don't. I think he was a great villain. He's another villain we don't have. So, you know, give us the client. We got to have that figure just to finish that off. And a Grief Karga, but yeah, he's not on my list. And then number one, which anyone who follows me every year will know full well that it's Dryden Voss, because Dryden Voss has been on my number one list now for at least 3 years. I've said it a million times, but I'll say it all again. You know, he's a villain, a main villain missing from a major movie that we just don't have in any format. We nearly had him. They nearly made him, but we didn't get him. Obviously, the Black Series did get him. And for me, I feel like he always represents that turning point when I feel Black Series started getting figures that we didn't. I think up to a point when Black Series was released, you know, they would often get figures and I think, it's fine. You know, we've got that in 3.75. It doesn't bother me. Whereas Dryden, when that came out, I remember thinking, cool, we'll get him in, you know, in 3.75 soon. And we just never did. And so I feel like he represents that balancing the scales. He represents the turning point. He represents TVC not being given the new media representation that I feel that we deserve. So for me, that's why he is my number one. He's been on the list for the last 4 years now, and every year he has risen in status. I think he hit top 25 last year. So again, he's always sat just outside of perhaps those elite figures, if you want to call them that. But I would want to see him get on the bracket again, at least. I feel if we can keep him on the bracket, you know, as Cardboard Galaxy was saying earlier about, you know, thinking it to the future. We've got a solo anniversary in 3 years, so it's it could be something. It could be something to push for in 3 years' time, you know. But let's keep him up there. Let's keep him in our memories, and don't forget about some of these figures, because the more we go into new media and the more we move on, it's easy to lose track and forget these. And I still think they're holes in our collection. So
absolutely, yeah. And he was in Clone Wars, not Bad Batch, but yes, 100%. I was looking at your list when I was putting together some of the Photoshop stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I did actually rethink some of my list with some of these choices. That we're on the same brain with some of this stuff, Lewis. So great picks.
And Lewis, just to jump ahead to mine, I'm not going to say what it is, but you already have me thinking, well, I got to change mine already, because you swayed me on something. So I'll call it out when we're doing that. So I would give some by all of those.
He's talking about having both Ben Solos on his list, obviously.
Some Dryden stats. Yes, he was 25 last year, but he's actually never made it. He's never won a round of voting in March Madness. So even though he, when I was on Boss Bounty's live stream last year, he won our run through of it. Me and him and Toys of the Jedi and only one Kenobi. But
hey, Lewis,
I remember that.
It's Emily approved. Lewis,
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Hello.
More aliens.
If there was any question whether Hasbro's paying attention, there it is, right there.
And just, I see Uncle Dino's just saying, obviously, lack of OT characters. Yeah, you know, I love OT. It's still my favorite, you know, element of Star Wars, if you want to call it that. You know, I've been collecting for as long as you like, and I've got tons of OT figures. But as I always say with these things, I always try and focus my stuff on, you know, figures I don't have in any form. So rather than look at redoing figures, I'm always trying to focus on characters that we just don't have at all. So there's often something I'll see on someone else's list and think, you know, like a Galactic Marine, someone mentioned earlier, I would love to see an updated Galactic Marine, but I tend to lean away from figures like that. You know, and same as Cantina Aliens. I've got so many of those already. I'm happy with a lot of them, not all of them, but I tend to lean away from those just because I want to see those new things. It's those new things that excite me the most. And, you know, when you've been collecting for many, many years, when those new figures come out with those new characters, that's when I you know, that's what excites me most about collecting, really.
Yeah,
definitely.
Great list, Lewis. Good stuff.
Thank you, man.
Love it.
Sign me up for at least 2 of each of those, please. And thank you. All right, Tyler, I've got you as the next list to go through.
First of all, let's take bets. How many red lightsabers are on this list? And how many black helmets and how many capes?
Yes. All the black helmets and capes and lightsabers. Yes, all of them.
Any blue? Is there any blue?
Yeah.
And there's some blue. There's a little bit of blue. Maybe even some purple.
Ooh,
Maybe.
Oh.
Ooh.
Vernestra, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Big fave.
Yeah. All right. What's your list, Tyler? Let's start you at 25. Where you at?
All right, man. Go ahead and put up that image. Here we go. All right. So yeah, B1 Battle Droid, man. So there's a lot that didn't quite make my list this year. You know, Flying Asajj.
So far, 100% yes.
Emily knows me
Correct.
so well. Dryden didn't quite make my list. You know, we only get 25, so I gotta. It's tough, but I think it's time for a new B1 battle droid, a new Roger. The existing one that we have is just not good. He's a wet noodle, and he can't even hold his gun with both hands. And I think that would be worthy of a new tooling investment because they can just repaint that guy over and over again and recoup their money on that. I think it's time for a new B1. But I wish I could put him higher on my list, but I just couldn't.
Other
He
priorities.
barely squeaked on, yeah. So, and at 24, I'm lagging a little bit, so forgive me. All right, number 24, we've got can't see. Sorry.
Rebel
Yes, the
Commander.
Rebel. I'm sorry for the lag, guys. I'm lagging a little bit tonight. Rebel Commandos, yeah. I switched this one out. I had Darth Nihilus on my list, but I decided to switch this out for some good guys for once. We really do need new Rebel Alliance tooling. All of our troopers have swivel hips. It's terrible. It's the end of the world. So, let's get those commandos in line and retool a bunch of those and put out a Trooper 4-pack, all that good
Heck yeah.
stuff.
Heck yeah.
All right. So Darth Nihilus didn't make my list, but Darth Malik did make my list. We have that beautiful, definitive, gorgeous Darth Revan, but he needs his apprentice, right? So gotta have that guy. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. So you can't have one without the other. We got to get that guy. Again, I wish I could toss him more points, but is what it is. And then next up, we've got the Patrol Trooper. Speaking of Solo, and also Jedi Survivor, right? It was in Jedi Survivor, not Fallen Order. Escorting Cal. I love this trooper design. I think it's super cool. We got a 5 POA version, but as everybody knows, that's unacceptable. We need a super articulated one. Top troopers are cool. I like it, and they can put out the speeder too, and I'd buy several of them. So
Absolutely.
number 21, we've got Qui-Gon Jinn. Our existing Qui-Gon is awful. I'm sorry, it's just bad. Especially the head sculpt and that big chunky lightsaber hilt from 1999 or whatever it is. I think it's really old. Yeah, it's time for a new Qui-Gon. You know what? You can put. Let's see. We've got number 20 is Obi-Wan, right? Yeah, we need new ones of both of these guys.
Absolutely.
I wish it had happened this year, but we only have, or excuse me, in 2024. But we only have so much tooling, and it's hard with the priorities and everything. So I got to keep pushing for those. If you want more prequel stuff, you got to get loud about it, guys. So, and then next up, we've got Maul from Solo. His Crimson Dawn, crime lord appearance at the end of the movie. Super cool appearance. I don't want Hasbro to yes they do to forget about this one, so I'm gonna keep putting this one on my list. maybe one of these days he'll make it into the tournament. We'll see.
He was on the bracket the first year, but he hasn't made it on since then.
Okay. Yeah. So he's a
could come back.
He's on the bubble.
One hit wonder, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then at number 18, we've got the Phantom Menace Darth Maul. Yes, I want a brand new one. The one that they just made for the Black Series is gorgeous, and I'm super jealous. I'm particularly jealous of the robe because this is the first time that the Black Series, well, any scale other than like Hot Toys, has done a really nice robe with all the like the pleating. I'm just so jealous of that figure. Oh, yeah. I want it so bad with an all soft goods robe, no plastic hood, all soft goods from the top down. Give me that figure. I want it. All right. Number 17, we've got Geonosis Padme. We have a decent one. She's okay, but she's got those gross swivel hips that aren't okay anymore. I'm not going to shut up about that. So I want a new one. Give me a new one. I think it's time for her to enter the vintage collection. If they retooled this figure, to at least get rid of the swivel hips, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I'd prefer a new figure. She needs rocker ankles. She needs barbell hips. Give me the works. Give me a new one. And then we've got Mace Windu. That's where the purple's at. There might be some more purple. I can't remember. Mace Windu. Yeah, another one where it's just the existing one is not good. And what really highlighted the deficiencies of this figure was when I got Jango Fett, and was posing them together for Jango's death scene. It just doesn't meet the cut anymore. He needs hinged wrists. I think he's got swivel hips too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a 2007 figure with a 2011 head.
That's a 18-year-old figure. Yeah, it's time for a new one. Time for a new one. All right, and then number 15, we've got Ki-Adi-Mundi for many of the same reasons. Our existing Ki-Adi-Mundi has swivel elbows. Yes, that's throwing it back to the age of the Saga collection with the swivel elbows. Again, like almost 20 years ago, right? It's long past time for a new one. We need a new Ki-Adi-Mundi. All those prequel, Jedi Masters, those prominent Jedi Masters, really all need to be redone. But I can't fit them all on my list, so I got to pick and choose the important ones. Some people are going to put, Plo Koon on there. That's fine. Go ahead, put them on. Yeah. Let's put them all into the tournament.
I'll just take the opportunity to jump on and say, yes, more prequel Jedi in the line. I agree. Please, thank you. I need them.
Shock T was on the bracket the first year, and I think Plo Koon and Ki-Adi-Mundi were on last year, plus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Anakin. So there's demand bubbling up, yes.
Yeah.
And then at number 14, we've got the Clone Commando. I know this is one of those like cult favorites that everybody wants to push for. I'm all about it. I support this one. A lot of people are very adamant about wanting a Clone Commando, but not wanting it to be based on Hunter, and I agree with that. They did this in Black Series, and they got a lot of flack for it. They have smartly chosen not to do this in the vintage collection, and I hope that they don't, because people want a different sculpt, an all new Republic Commando, and they can repaint this so many times, right? They can put out a plain white one, they can put out Delta Squad, they can put out Omega Squad, they can put out Gregor, they can put out the Mount Tantus ones, right? Like there's so much repaint potential here. It would just sell over and over and over again. So that tooling is going to pay for itself many times over. So that's definitely a worthy tooling investment.
Even one of the random Battlefront ones that I never expected to see was just released in Black Series, so it'd be nice to get in vintage as well.
100%. It's gonna sell well. And then the next one is the Galactic Marine. as a Marine, I gotta represent my Marines, right? So, that one's another one, right? It's super old. It came out in what, 2007, something like that.
7, yeah.
2000,
Yeah.
yeah. It just doesn't meet the cut anymore. Can barely stand. Its backpack makes it fall over backwards all the time.
Real quick, Tyler. So explain to me, because I'm dumb. So this is completely different from the Snow Trooper. Yes, they
Yes.
would not share any
Yes.
pieces, not
I
even
don't
upper
believe
legs or
they
anything.
share. Yeah, they don't share any
No,
tooling.
none.
I know when people when we saw the Snow Trooper announced, everybody got excited and said, "That means we're gonna get the Galactic Marine." Well,
Okay.
actually, no, sadly, because they don't share any pieces, which is too bad. So, if you want the Galactic Marine, you're gonna have to keep on campaigning for him individually because the Snow Trooper does not translate to a Galactic Marine, sadly.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you for clearing that up. I just wanted to make sure that was on the record there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the next one is the 41st Elite Corps Swamp Trooper, Clone Scout, whatever you want to call him. Again, this is a similar situation to the Galactic Marine and the Snow Trooper, right? Even though it's very visually similar to the Imperial Scout Troopers, it's again completely different, no shared tooling, totally different outfits and whatnot. However, one thing that is interesting is the lower body is the same as the Galactic Marine. So if they made a Galactic Marine or a clone scout, one could lead to the other with some tooling reuse there. So again,
That's cool.
another reason why they're worthy tooling investments, besides the fact that their army builders are going to sell like crazy and I'm going to buy 100 of them and nobody else is going to get one. And that's just too bad for everybody. But
It'll
all
be
right,
a
number
DIY.
11.
Oh yeah, it'll be a
Go
DIY
ahead, go
paint
ahead.
situation with all that camo though. You'll
Yeah, it's probably gonna have to be deluxe, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Paint's expensive, but in any case, Jedi arrest Palpatine. Yes, our Palpatine from that scene is a literal salt shaker. I'm trying to see if I used to have him on display. I don't know where he went. He probably went away because he looked so terrible.
With swivel
Um,
elbows.
oh, it's so bad.
And
I mean,
another
he's a traffic
and
cone
another
with swivel elbows. It's
Yeah.
just
and there's
terrible.
another red version of Anakin's Revenge of the Sith
Yeah.
lightsaber.
Yeah, true. This one goes along with the other Jedi Masters. It's time. It's time for an updated, definitive version of this character.
100%.
And then I didn't put Office Duel because a lot of people have I think John have pointed out, well, he also dueled Yoda in his office in the completely different outfit.
Yeah.
So that's why we've changed the name to Jedi Arrest.
Yes,
right?
please, everybody, write Jedi Arrest if you want this version.
Yes,
For the love of
Yes.
God. He has other red robes. So
Yeah.
there's like the Senate coronation robes and the Emperor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that
Help
one.
me out.
Darn.
See?
I gotta redo my whole list now. All right, so we've got Seventh Sister. Yeah, a lot of Inquisitors.
Also pull up the next
pushing
one
hard.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fifth Brother. Both of the Fifth Brother tends to do pretty well in terms of making it into the tournaments, I think, right? I want to say he's made it into like at least 2 or 3 prior tournaments.
He's made it into 2 of them, yeah.
2 of them, yeah. So he's kind of a veteran. Let's put him into next year as well.
Cool. Number 8.
Number 8, we've got Supreme Leader Kylo Ren for all the same reasons that Lewis mentioned, and I always point this out. I've got this cool display over here with all my Sith troopers and no one to lead them. It's got an empty throne and no leader, so leaderless army, sadly. Let's fix that, Hasbro. So then number 7, we've got there he is.
Yes.
Palpatine, Sith Eternal
Lost.
from The Rise of Skywalker. Look what you have made. Imagine if we could say that to you, Hasbro, right? We'd all be like, look what you have made. It's beautiful and gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, I gotta have this guy, man. You can feel however you want about the movie, but it's Ian McDiarmid at the end of the day. Like, everybody loves Palpatine. Come on.
Yeah.
Just got to have him. And then number 6, we've got again another
Yeah.
Inquisitor, second sister. She's been in all 4 prior tournaments, and I expect that she will probably make it into the 5th one as well. We'll see, but odds are she's probably gonna make it again. So 5-time tournament veteran here. Let's get her made. And then number 5, we've got yes. So this one, I know people are gonna be like, but we have a Death Trooper, Tyler. That breaks the rules. You can't do that. Blah blah. Let me explain. All right. So we've got the Night Trooper pack, right? They made 3 different Night Troopers, all with different, red ribbon wrappings on their arms and torso and legs and blah blah blah. And between all those figures and Captain Enoch in the pack, we basically got an all new figure, as we discussed on our previous stream, right? There's 2 zombie Death Troopers in Ahsoka. One of them has the shattered helmet with the zombie jaw, and then basically between the 2 of them, there's different wrappings and everything. So you'd get basically an all new figure would need to be made in order for us to get those zombie Death Troopers between the 2 of them. So that's how I'm able to justify this. Because I know people are going to be like, well, this is breaking the rules. We already have a Death Trooper, right? Well, no, they're going to need to tool new parts in order to get us all those red wrappings on the arms and whatnot, and legs and torso. So that passes the smell test, and that's one of those areas of wiggle room that I was talking about earlier. So if you want those zombie Death Troopers, those will pass through. At number 4, we've got Marok.
Yeah.
Even though he ended up being a fart cloud, I don't care. I still want this character. It doesn't matter to me that he didn't end up being Star Killer or whatever the internet said he was going to be. Okay, I don't care. I still want the figure. They did really well covering Ahsoka. Pretty darn well with figure coverage. There's not much more, at least in my mind, that we need to finish off that lineup. We need Ezra from Peridia. We need the zombie Death Troopers. We need the Great Mothers, which are coming up here shortly. And we need Marok. And am I missing anything? You could say the crab people. I'm not really interested in the crab people. Other than that,
people on my list. Oh God.
I'll just put the Great Mothers up here, Tyler, since you mentioned.
There you go, Great Mothers. All right, so these guys would likely at least share some tooling under their robes, dresses, or whatever. So we lumped those together, kind of like we did for the Tonica sisters, right? In years past. So if you want those witches, put them nice and high on your list and get them those points, right? I want these guys real bad. I really do. I want to finish off my Ahsoka lineup, and anything that's going to go on my Thrawn shelf, big priority for me. So let's hope they can make them in. I'm probably like the only person in the world asking for them, but I'm gonna try.
Well,
At number go ahead.
Oops, sorry, I was just gonna say, thinking of the stuff that we need from Ahsoka. Yeah, like I really want a Morgan Elsbeth with her Night Sister, zombie like ICP makeup to fight that Ahsoka that we have. But yeah, she's not on my list because that is just a simple repaint. So that's one that please don't put that on your list if you can avoid it, just since it is zero new tooling outside of maybe a sword accessory. So
I was gonna say, well, actually, they'd have to tool up a new sword.
Yeah,
right? But
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's about it though. Oh, they could give her little ball map too. That would be great.
That would be dope too. So
yeah,
cool. All right, so let's jump to your number 2 now.
At number 2, we've got Mara Jade. We have a Mara Jade from the Black Series 3.75 inch line. She's got swivel hips and ridiculous hair. So I'd really just like a new one. That would be great. If they ended up using some of, I don't know, maybe Dr. Afra's tooling, perhaps, then it is what it is. But at the end of the
it's kind of what they
day,
did for the Black Series, right?
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And again, this comes down to like the Velkin Taziri example, right? They ended up making a new figure from pretty brand new parts.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like a brand new figure, right? And I think Mara would probably fall in this category.
All
But
right.
the Heir to the Empire set has blown the doors off of EU stuff, which leads me to my number one, which is Rook or Nogri Warrior, the EU version specifically, because I don't want that gangly abomination from Rebels. It's awful. I don't want that. Give me the original OG beefy, terrifying Nogri Warrior from the expanded universe. If you're gonna put Rook on your list, specify whether you want the ugly, hideous, terrible one or you want the EU one. All right. Help us out
about-
with. Go ahead, John.
They made him look a little more menacing in Tales of the Empire. He didn't have quite the cute little button nose.
That is the best look, the EU one, but
Yeah, it's pretty
then
rad.
it's I guess if you're going to try and build out the EU figures you've got, it makes sense to go for that one. So
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna give me Druis, then I want the EU style one. So that's my number one. It would be a dream to make that figure happen. It'd probably have to be deluxe because they're huge, but whatever. I'd still buy it.
Obligatory comment here, but guess what? I see one OT figure on your list. So you have OT on your list, Tyler, with the Endor Rebel.
I guess. Yeah. He's down there towards the bottom, the commando. Yeah.
In terms of red lightsabers, half the characters have double-bladed lightsabers because they're all Inquisitors or Darth Maul. So I think there's like 15 red lightsabers on this list. Plus Palpatines, if you want to get in
that's the most blue and green I've seen on your list, I think, in the last 5 years. So.
Yeah.
Trying to shake it up a little bit, No Scion or Atreya, fake Sith fan. I know, man. I only get 25 slots.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I love this. Another list that, I would, no questions asked, shell out for at least 2 of each of these characters. So
betrayal. Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, I look forward to seeing everybody's lists.
You say betrayal. No. That was the other book from the Fate of the Jedi series or Legacy of the Force series. This was Sacrifice, that the Mara Jade comic or illustrations from. But I'm a fake fan. What do I know? All right. Tyler, anything else you want to see or say about your list?
As a reminder, I'm giving out stormtroopers to anyone who puts Rook as their number one. I didn't say what kind of stormtroopers though, so they're going to be 2004.
It's the yellow ones out of your trash.
Out of my trash. I'm just kidding. I'm not actually doing that. But it'd be great if I did, though, right? So, all right.
Sweet. All right. Well, I guess I'll jump into my list now because we'll save the best for last with John.
Oh, of course.
All right. And I didn't write mine down, so I'm going to be just as surprised as you guys are when they show up. So. All right. Number 25, I got Luthen Rail. I don't think I need to say much here other than we need more Andor in the line.
We do.
He's just such a great character. I think it's weird that we don't have him. He's great. Number 24, Dryden. Got to support my boy Lewis here, but also, yes, we need more of these villains. I want more solo stuff in the line as well. And just same reasons of the turning point of the balance, kind of getting out of whack with what we get in 3 3/4 inch compared to what 6 inch gets. 23, Pong Krell, just our incumbent victor from last year's tournament. He's just a cool thing that I think is super toyetic. A big, what are they, Dracelians? Is that what he is?
No, that's Printface. He's a Basilisk.
That's right, Basilisk. Basilisk, 2 double-bladed lightsabers. It's awesome. We've got the definitive clone sculpt, so we can, have him recreating that carnage, the carnage of Krell, have you. It'd just be super fun. I would love to see this as a figure.
John, as always, is our walking Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Do we know if Pong could translate any tooling to Dex?
I don't think so.
Like,
I
probably
mean,
not.
Maybe like
if
toes.
maybe if he hit the gym and stopped eating at his own diet or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
the
think
hands
also,
are
hands
the
and feet.
cauldrons.
The
Maybe
name,
the hand, yeah.
the name's gone as well. But what's Cal Kestis's master, Jedi master? I
Jaro
think
T'Pol.
Joe to
Jaro,
Paul.
Jaro, yeah.
Even that, I think there's a lot of differences. I've sort of looked at them before and thought, but really, when you start to break it down, it's the head.
Yeah.
For Zeb, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 22. I didn't have any Bad Batch
Yeah.
on my list for a couple of years because I thought, I don't need to worry about that. Well, narrator, he did need to worry about that. For multiple years on, the show came and went, and we got one member of the Bad Batch in the Vintage Collection, which is an absolute shame. I put Crosshair on here in his Imperial look to, represent that media property. I want them all. I want to complete the Bad Batch teams and themes. We harp on that a lot. So yeah, he's on there. Pelimato, you touched on with Frog Lady Lewis that she supports 2 HasLabs. So Peli supports 2 HasLabs, the N1, another vehicle ship. So she supports a lot of stuff here. This is a super important character, and you know what? We need more Grogu's in our collection. So go ahead and pack her with one if you so choose. Just kidding. I'm good on.
I think she was probably one of the ones I struggled with most in leaving off my list, actually. So yeah, I'm glad you've got her on there.
Yeah, and she also supports the streets of Tatooine, even if you don't put them outside. Yes. Oh, you can still put it outside the cantina. So she goes with a lot of stuff that we have, a lot of world building stuff. She is a major player in that stuff. 20 Gungi. Love him.
Gungi. Wow.
Gungi. Yeah. I don't listen to the things that I watch, so I don't know how to. Just kidding. Gungi is awesome. We've had many Jedi Wookiee, not many. We've had a couple Jedi Wookiees since, Buryaga and the High Republic, Kelnaka and Acolyte. But this one is one that I think would probably be my pick of those. Again, another Bad Batch player, Clone Wars, super cool stuff. Ahsoka Tano in her Rebels look to support the Ghost further, since she was a major player in season 2 of that show. Of course, I'd like to see a Vader to go alongside with her, but that requires no new tooling outside of the head, so he's not on this list. Maul, Crimson Dawn. Yes, Tyler, I'm with you on wanting this one.
Yeah.
Super cool. I loved that little tease at the end of Solo. I don't love it that it was kind of like a DCEU or Marvel Phase 4 tease where nothing happens with it.
It's only been 7 years. Give him time. Yeah.
Alas, but still, I think this design's awesome. The Broken Inquisitor lightsaber, his robes. It was just really cool. So again, that's there. 17. 33 SM33 from Skeleton Crew, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up 16 as Neil. These two are in dire need in my collection. I would love, like Lewis, I have really enjoyed Skeleton Crew. I would love to have them in my collection. So these two represent that media property. We can start calling my list Make the Mains from here on out, I think, since I'm asking for a lot of main character stuff that I feel like I shouldn't have to ask for, but here we are. That's okay. 14 and 15 both together. I skipped them on my list last year, but I've just jumped back into the High Republic novels. Jedi stuff is always my favorite. So I picked Stellan Gios, number 14, and then the big bad Marchion Ro as number 15, just to kind of represent that entire era. I think there's a lot of fun opportunities there, and if they even invested in a couple Jedi whatnot, that still further builds out the tooling library for the prequel era stuff as well. A lot of possibilities just with little creative reuse. Number 13, we've got the second Sister Inquisitor for all the same reasons you guys have mentioned already. Love
3
it.
for 3 so far.
Yep.
3 for 3.
We need more Inquisitors.
We do.
12, same reasoning here as you guys for Palpatine. Absolutely need him. Number 11, Bodhi Rook. he was one of my favorite characters from Rogue One. I love Riz Ahmed. I talk about it every year. I think he's been on my list every year. I know we need Baze and Saw, but he's my pick from the Rogue One stuff. So just overall, I do want more from Rogue One, but he's the one that represents that media property here. We need him.
Excellent impression. And I just want to say I'm sad that I haven't heard any of John's Geonosian chicken clucking throughout this entire.
There's still time.
We'll
It's only been 2
just
hours.
Throw it in randomly.
So at number 10, to celebrate the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens, I put Han Solo, Old Man Han, on there. This is one that I was kind of unsure of, could he share some of the pieces from the new A New Hope Han that's coming this year? Probably, but I didn't want to get lost in the weeds on there. So it just felt like, make them all new. So he's on my list.
I hope they do that, though. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. If they do that, great. Yaddle, number 9. I mentioned this in my reasoning last year, where if they made Yaddle, she would basically lend parts to an all new Yoda as well. They would share a lot of tooling. I also want an all new Yoda, so I picked between the two. I know it would be probably more in vogue to pick Yoda in the Revenge of the Sith anniversary year, but I just loved Tales of the Jedi. I loved these episodes. I just really need a Yaddle. Merrick, again, same reasons. We need more Inquisitors. We need more bad guys. Love them. And yeah, we've got so many figures. We've got characters that he fights and interacts with, and then they don't have their dueling opponent. And I'm getting a little sick of that, collecting this line where I have so many cool, Jedi or Sith figures, lightsaber wielding characters, but they don't have their opponents. And it's really tough for displays and whatnot. And also just general fun. Number 7, Kelleran Beck. Love this guy. Was stoked to see him in The Mandalorian. I think I talked about it a lot last year, so I'm just keeping it brief as I run through it this year. But I really want him, and again, further building out that Jedi tooling library for the prequel eras and High Republic eras. And plus, it's just Ahmed Best. Love him. So
nice job keeping this one alive. Evan. I feel like.
Yeah.
People have kind of, the hype for him has kind of fallen off a bit. So it's really good to remind people like, hey, that's a thing. Maybe put him on your list. Yeah.
He was on the bracket last year. He was number 55 last year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
He made it to the Sweet 16. So he got some support.
Wow. Oh man, he did make it far. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Which is great. And it is tough. We touched on it too, everything kind of being delayed, not only from, Lucasfilm and, directors and showrunners not sharing stuff and being forthcoming, Hasbro being in the dark, or the merchandising plan not being super thought out for certain things for whatever reasons. Things showing up years afterwards. We just got Cobb Vanth 4 years after we initially wanted him. And of course, some of the hype died down in those 4 years. I wish Hasbro could strike while the iron is hot. It's really hard that they can't. But I try to, keep my head up and keep asking for these things and try not to let them slip too far in back of mind as we get more and more new media or new things to think about and new figures to ask for.
We might see Kelleran again too, because he zipped off with Grogu, and then we don't really know what happened after that.
He's off on a grand adventure with Jar Jar somewhere.
Yeah, they kind of need to finish that story. So
back, continuing the lightsaber character trend here. Ezra from Peridia.
Yeah.
Enough said. We just absolutely need this figure. It's a non-negotiable must. And I think, Lewis, you had mentioned that the next time we see him, he'll probably be in a whole different costume. So that would track with, by the time Ahsoka season 2 comes out, we need an Ezra in the line. Let's go back 4 years to the previous look.
And it's that thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's it's like with Cal Kestis. We've got the second version of him, but you always kind of think, the first time you see someone, that first version is always the one that you kind of want to see first in a line. So like you say, get him out now. Get him out now if you can.
Yeah, I would love that. It'd be great. I had to wonder, and I think I mentioned this out loud too, would the upper arms and the robe overlay from the Jeruis, would that be something that could be used for this character? We don't know. So he's staying on my list. Number 5, moving on from Space Moses, we're going to Little Leia. She's been on my list ever since the Obi-Wan series happened. We have a distinct lack of child characters in the line. Look at Skeleton Crew, the main cast, children. Will we ever have figures of them? They seem not to want to make them for us. We didn't get a Phantom Menace Anakin outside of the blink and you miss it repack of his Jedi look from frames of that movie, from Phantom Menace. Yeah. It's just tough. I really want that she was a main character in that show. So make the mains, and that includes young Leia.
Yeah. She made the bracket both of the past 2 years.
Yes.
But and a lot of these characters that I brought up, they haven't made it very far in the bracket. So, show support.
But they were on the bracket, which is still
it's a start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4 is the one that I'm going to have to explain a little bit. Here's Kylo Ren, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. So, Lewis, you'd mentioned how I had been talking about it, how Kylo and Ben Solo would share a lot of tooling. That is very true. Spoiler alert, Ben Solo did not make my list. I picked Kylo.
What?
So, no, Ben Solo is not
Shame
3,
on
2,
you.
or 1. And that's what led me to think I need to change my list, because I do want the Ben Solo figure more. And I shouldn't,
Just put it on.
I
Don't worry
talk
about
myself out of it. But
They've both been on the bracket all 4 years.
Yeah.
They can both coexist.
I want them both. If you visit my shameless plug, my Instagram page, I've been posting some 3-pack concepts that kind of throws out loose ideas for tooling that Hasbro can start with. And again, it's very much of with Kylo, if they made him first. I was listening to the little Tyler on my shoulder saying, like, pick the one that's got better shelf appeal, dork. And that is Kylo. He's the cooler. No, he's the cooler of the two. I think he would sell more than a Ben Solo, even though I want Ben Solo more. But then I thought about it and I was like, why am I so concerned about factors I can't control when it's just something that I want? So I'm probably going to fix my list to put Ben Solo on there, but it's Kylo Ren for now.
I think it's okay to put both, because if you remember a few years ago, before we had the definitive, Imperial officer sculpt, we had Thrawn and Krennic and Piet and all these different guys who basically share 90-something% of the tooling that would make it into the tournament, right?
And a lot of Mandalorians the year prior as well.
Yeah. 100%.
The only tooling they would share really would just be from the waist down. So we'd need new torso, arms, head for these guys, and a new lightsaber. No, it'd be Rey's lightsaber for the Ben version. But yeah. So let's go into number 3, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes, to go with the new Anakin that we've got. The one that we have is abysmal. It's from 2005, essentially. The one that's in the vintage collection.
That's exactly from 2005.
Yeah. The one in the vintage collection doesn't even have the updated articulation that was in a line prior to the vintage collection. Correct, John?
Correct.
With the hips.
They took the 2005 pilot figure. They updated the hips and head, and I think that was it in 2008, early 2008, at the tail end of the 30th anniversary collection. And then for some reason they went back to the 2005 sculpt for TVC.
Yeah, wild. It's a junk figure. I hate it so much. All new from the ground up. And again, this is another thing that further expands the tooling library of Jedi, makes more things possible for us moving forward. I don't want them to reuse any of the pieces that already exist. I've talked about it ad nauseum about how there's little differences in all of these tunics. For these main characters, there's little differences that are important. The way that it fits is completely different than, to say, the torso that exists for the Jedi Legend and Showdown Obi-Wan. I don't want them to reuse that. I want this to be, an all new figure that can go toe to toe with that excellent new Anakin that we have in the line.
So good.
And like Tannen says, he's got that claw hand, so you can he holds his lightsaber like this.
Oh, his Lego hand.
Yeah, it's pretty. I've got it sitting over here right now, but I'm gonna not jump scare you guys with that figure. It's just truly horrible. So battle for the heroes, make the mains, Revenge of the Sith anniversary, all culminated right there with that Obi-Wan for me. These last two is I'm going to probably watch the viewer count drop off, but they're on Lewis. One of them is on Lewis's list. Number 2 is going to be Jackie Lon. I really want her in the line. And again, the tooling for her could also go a long way to getting us some female Jedi from the prequel era. Would be great. I loved the fight scene with her. I don't care what anybody has to say. I just really love that sequence, that whole episode, essentially. Super cool lightsaber fighting, everything I've wanted to see since I was a kid, which leads me to her dueling partner. My number one pick, my most wanted figure overall is going to be
look at
the
that.
Stranger
Yes.
Danger. We need him. Cool bad guy. Say what you will about anything else, but just in a vacuum, this is awesome. I want this guy real bad. I would prefer if and when they make him, if they make him, I doubt they make him. If they make him, I would like to see that Cortosis gauntlet be a separate piece that you can put on, since he's not wearing it in a later duel with the Soul figure that we have. Anyway, that's my list. Tried to keep it brief. Sorry, I talked a bit there.
I count
That's a lot of
20 to
lightsabers,
20.
Evan.
Yeah, 20 or 21 maybe lightsabers. So you beat Tyler a little bit,
pretty good.
but at least there's. Oh, no,
But here's
This is-
why. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, it's so hard just seeing yours and Tyler's lists after mine. I could pick so many off both your lists and easily swap what's on mine. And it is hard picking a top 25 because this figure's there. I'm now looking at thinking, why didn't I put that on? But yeah, it is what it is.
I feel
Thank you,
bad that I
Emily.
didn't put Dryden on my list.
Yeah. You should feel bad, Tyler.
I got to fix the list and put Ben Solo on my list. But
what in the world? What kind of
Fired.
topsy-turvy world are we living in now?
the reasoning though here with like so many lightsaber characters, obviously I talk about it a lot that lightsaber wielders are the thing that bring me to Star Wars, the thing that attract me to collecting these figures of these little works of art that we have. I love lightsaber duels. I love collecting lightsaber props. I love Jedi, Sith, all that in between. Just over the last year, seeing, figures like these Kanans, like Dooku, Cal Kestis, the new Anakin that's coming, Soul, especially just in that more traditional Jedi kind of look. These all new, modern, definitive, like up to modern standard lightsaber wielding characters are at a level that we've never seen before into what you can do with them, how dynamic they can be, how exciting you can make them. And I'm craving more of that in my line or in my collection, in the line. I need that. I love it so much. We're at a period right now where everything looks just absolutely incredible when it comes to these lightsaber wielders. Give me more.
And there's 14 coming. I just looked at your checklist already. There's 14 that we know about coming in 2025, which is awesome. I know you posted some about that on your story and stuff.
Can I just say real
excited.
quick, I'm amazed with how well Kanan's his blast shield or whatever you want to call it.
It's incredible.
Clips onto his face.
It's the best figure.
It's incredible, dude. Like, wow.
My figure of the year for me,
cool.
100%. It's such a
So
good
cool.
figure.
And again, I wanted to take like nice, pretty pictures in the packaging, and I ripped it open like an absolute savage, like a feral raccoon or something. But whatever.
There'll be pictures online.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna post pictures anyway, so whatever.
Yeah. Well, if we didn't lose you guys with some of my top picks being yucky, ooey, let's move on to John's. Yeah. But yes, Emily, I'm going to assume you're talking about the mask for Kanan.
That's
genuinely
so cool, man.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
So yes, before we lose everybody with my list, please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and go save the link to submit we got 128 people watching. We have a little over 50 lists, which is awesome. Keep them coming.
That's great.
And again, that list is right there on the bottom corner of this stream, just for a reminder, and also on these top 25 graphics. So
can you show Riley Bob's comment there? He's spot on.
By the way, just wanted to say to Riley Bob, I'm not sure if we thanked you at the beginning of the stream, but thanks for the $5 you tossed us at the beginning of the stream, buddy. We appreciate you, man. That's awesome. Always appreciate the little tips.
Absolutely.
So,
and in terms of main characters, this might blow your mind. I almost thought about adding C-3PO to my list, I was like, I can't add a main character to my list. What are you, sick? But now that we've made so many amazing, A New Hope, all the A New Hope guys are being knocked out this year and last, and C-3PO is missing, so we do need him. And repaint him till the cows come home. I looked at all you guys' lists. There will be actually a lot of crossover, so I'm not as crazy as I thought. But there were so many that I wanted to get on there. Somebody earlier asked about no Plagueis on this list. We at least have him in the Black Series. speaking of Sith Lords that show up and then never have those stories continued, Plagueis, don't even mention that wound right now. But yes, I got to add more from Ahsoka after seeing Evan's list. I gotta add some of these other guys, but we'll see. We'll see what we got here so far.
I just want to say before you start, John's
Yes.
list is always the wackiest, craziest, most like it's never gonna happen list, right? And then I swear to God, he's the guy who always has the stuff from his list get revealed.
Yeah.
And it's like this dude has a crystal ball with his mustache, or
He's
like
definitely
tucked
ticked
in
off.
his mustache.
He's definitely
could
ticked
put,
off
like-
way more than I have.
I bet
Yeah.
like your list is going to have something like Akmina's high school boyfriend unseen.
Oof.
And that's going to be something we're going to get a figure of before any
That
of
would
the
be-
things on my list.
Well, now I definitely have to rewrite my list, so thanks for that. But yeah, between the Hu Yang gang, that was a big one that I wanted for so long, and then to have him come back in Ahsoka and get, yes, he could have had more paint, but there was a vintage one, a Disney Droid Factory one, and yes, sorry, Tyler, but a Black Series one. I have so many Hu Yang, so much Hu Yang merch now, especially vintage collection leading the pack, but it's just
It was the Life Day
stuff.
Chewie for me that I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this dude, man, what is going on?
Man, we'll have a spiritual successor to that guy here in a little bit, but
Oh, yes.
all right, let's kick it off. Let's start as weird as we can possibly get. Number 25, Kane Adis. He's always on the list. I got to put him in the background of my Jabba's Palace playset at some point. Been waiting on that guy forever. Let's get him out. Number 24, Padme Amidala, Lake Gown edition. I would take any new Padme at this point. Call me Anakin because I'm thirsty for a Padme. We just need a new one.
Yes.
She's on my shirt again.
more
I wore the
Padme.
same shirt from last year's top 25.
Nice.
stream.
I didn't want to mention, but yes. So thank you for that, Evan. Her episode 1 Battle Gear did well last year. Her episode 2 Geonosis 1 was on the bracket last year, so I assume those will probably do well again. But I would love those as well, updates of those. But an all new, never before one would be great. Lake Gown being my favorite one. Another lady in a lovely dress, of course, Frog Lady, number 23. For all the reasons you guys said, we need her to finish some of those Mandalorian scenes and complete some of the further complete the Razor Crest world building. Number 22, Dryden Voss. Way long overdue. You guys already said everything that could be said about him, but yeah, that was kind of when the sort of splits off in between Black Series and 3.75, and still bummed about that, but he was a major one we still need. As yes, Emily said, she has a secret list every year, keeps it top secret.
She
You want to
does.
submit it under a fake email address, go ahead, let's get that data in there, but whatever you want to do.
Burner email.
Yeah.
Totally
Thank you,
not
Uncle
Emily at gmail.com.
Number 20, if you like the list so far. No, sorry, number 21. Can't believe he's not on Evan's list, but he's got to be on mine. You got to bring me Ben Solo. Come on, man.
Gotta fix my
But,
list. You guys talked me into it.
He's a little bit farther down just because there's so many great new choices that I had to add this year. But as people have said, as we've discussed, I'm sure before, and as Tanith mentioned earlier, you can do an all-new Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, get him out in the line. He seems to be a top, a choice for. He's in every other possible scale, even scales that have come and gone since the movie was released, but he's not in the 3.75 at all. There's a 9-inch version of him at Walgreens. There's a 2.5-inch version of him with his ship. It's just insane that he's not in Vintage Collection yet. Then use him for tooling to get Ben Solo, maybe a 3-pack with Rey again. She can have her yellow lightsaber. She can have Leia's lightsaber, and then a Palpatine to round it out using Luke's body or something. I would like to see that. If you wouldn't like to see that, that's fine. But I would like to see
Force Dyad 3-pack. There you go.
Yeah,
Yes,
that would actually
yes.
be minimal new tooling in that pack as well.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Very little new tooling, but it would make me very happy. So, number 20, Jackson. Of course, he slipped down a little bit, but with the fact that we finally got Jerus after people were asking him for 3 decades, gave me a little more hope for Jackson. And the fact that because the Black Series used like X-Wing Luke upper body and Tatooine Luke lower body, so maybe now that we finally have a Tatooine Luke, they could reuse his legs. I know, sorry Tyler, but if they could do that, maybe I would. If that's a way to get Jackson in the line, please. I just need Jackson. Number 19, if I haven't lost you yet, here's Vice Admiral Holdo. I just did a Holdo maneuver through the viewership here. But she was in the same. She's on my list every year. She was in the same wave with Dryden in Black Series, where it was like, all right, these are just figures we're never going to get in 3.75. That bums me out because I want every figure 3.75. All love to the Black Series. It's fine. I buy it. I'm sorry, but I want these figures in 3.75. That is the favorite scale, my favorite line. I want every character that is released as a figure released in 3.75, and that will never change. Speaking of which, number 18, another sequel trilogy guy, Finn from Rise of Skywalker. I was happy to finally see a Finn in Vintage Collection this year, even though it was not the best figure and not the choice that's been on the bracket 3 of the 4 years. But I would still like to see this Finn. He is definitely missing. I did not include Poe this year. There was just too much to get to. And I was like, if I got to bump something, we have a Poe from Rise of Skywalker in the line. So I want to see Finn and Poe, but Finn made the bracket. Finn made my list this year. So
that's fair.
17, Kino Loy. I bumped him up a little bit after seeing him on your list, Lewis. Because again, you could make so many variants of prisoners with this guy, a 4-pack of all the prisoners and stuff. Just keep cranking them out. That'd be so awesome to see, and then create a big prison riot diorama. Yes, Lorena, a lot of great choices for you here on this list. Thank you for calling it out. I'm sorry to say Satine is not on here, though. It's another one that I probably need to consider.
Yeah.
Satine's a good
number 16. You saw him on Evan's list. Keller and Beck. Love, all the love in the world to Ahmed Best. Been a Jar Jar stan since day one, so seeing him in The Mandalorian was awesome. I would love a figure of him and further adventures of him. Sorry, Lewis, I know it's 3 a.m. in London over there. But, all right. Number 15, Asajj Ventress. I have her bounty hunter look. We might be a little lenient because she did just come back in a very similar look with in the Bad Batch. Love that she actually did not die, apparently. Everybody always comes back, but it's nice when it's interesting characters that I love. So, I want to see more of her. I want to see more of her in the line. I know a lot of people support her basic look for the bracket, so I'll take any Ventress we can get, but bounty hunter look is my top choice for that. And then Tanith, get excited. Next two, throw them up together. Wald and Kitster, of course. They're a little lower, but got to get them on there. Didn't get a single episode 1 figure this past year. I was going to say Asajj Ventress, but Aura Singh notwithstanding. But so they're not my 1 and 2, Tanith, sorry, but they are 13 and 14. And got to keep the TVC school bus is filling up because number 12 is Neil, my boy Neil. We need the skeleton crew in Vintage Collection. I love the show. It's so much fun. And I put Neil on there to represent the whole team. Welcome back, Lewis. But I did, Evan had 33 and Lewis had Brutus, something like #Lewis Brutus. I don't know. But those would be awesome as well, but I did not include them on here. Yes, Neil Nation, Emily, please, yes, for the love of God.
Yes.
But
it's going to be interesting to see if the whole crew makes it into the tournament. I don't know, we'll see.
Neil is he's the most visually interesting of the kids, obviously, as an alien. No offense to the other kids, but
that's racist.
I'm hating on child actors. I'm really not. They're all great characters. I would love to see them all on the line, but if you got to pick one, you're going to go Neil, of course. Come on,
complete the crew, but start with Neil.
Start with Neil. So yeah, some of these are, and then we saw Neil's siblings watching the great what's his name, Great Garlu. That's from Flintstones. I'm showing a fake fan on this, but he watched the holiday special acrobatics show, which was also, of course, watched by number 11 Lumpy. Come on. You gotta have both of them, and then they can have a holographic table to watch that show on. It'd be awesome. And when I saw Gunji, I was like, "Dang, I should have put Gunji on my list." But I'm happy.
You knew Lumpy was going to be on this list, guys.
Of course. So I need to continue fleshing out my holiday special scene, but so a lot of this, I've said this before, but a lot of this is figures to either start new crews or complete scenes and teams and themes that I've wanted for literal decades. So like Finn is a big missing one from Rise of Skywalker. Holdo's a big missing one from Last Jedi, because they did a lot in the 5 POA lines, but not at all, but not in Vintage Collection, but not those characters. Kitster and Wald, they did so much from episode 1, except Kitster and Wald, and I know they've always been kind of on the bubble, or they used to be back in the day. So another big one in that category, of course, my boy, who his wife is. His wife is Shmi is my wife, but I got to go for Klieg Lars, number 10.
Shmi's my wife.
Shmi's my wife. I never get excited about another Lars Homestead playset that people talk about, but if you throw in a Klieg Lars, you have my attention, Hasbro. So we'll see what happens, but absolutely not going to happen. But in the days of episode 1 and 2 and 3, where they made every single possible character, every speaking role, from top to bottom, they made young Owen and Beru from this scene. They made the Padme from this scene, the outfit that she wears for just a minute.
They made the Mustafar mining guy.
Yeah.
Random stuff, right?
Top 25 is dead, son. Accepted. My top 25 is thriving.
It's so funny because Carlo is obviously a member of our team, but he's kind of like a Nogri, like invisible on the sideline. He's kind of like watching from the bushes.
Pop up once every 6 months when he wants to, yeah.
But whenever I mention Carlo in the group chat, John's always like, "You're Carlo's dead son." Every time. Oh,
yes.
God,
so I need a Klieg to
love you,
officially. Yes, he's not actually dead as far as we know, but
no, he's not. He's not. He is basically a vampire, though. So who knows?
Well, I hope he's happy that we put
my
second sister on our list so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's not on mine. I'm sorry, Carla, but hopefully she'll be on the bracket. I had to make space for Klieg and Lumpy and Neil.
The important stuff.
Yeah.
So here's a new character that everybody loves and is at the top of everybody's list. Number 9, Jackie Lon, because I thought I liked a lot about the Acolyte. Maybe not everything landed for everybody. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't heard any opinions on this because Star Wars fans are so quiet about their opinions. But I would love everybody from that show, but I don't think it's happening. I don't think Basil is very likely anytime soon, or Vernestra. But if we can get a couple more, I would love Jackie. Kelnock is not on this list. Maybe there's another character coming up from this show, but Jackie would be awesome to go with the figures that we do have. And, Yord Horde, but Jackie Jam, she has to, we need Yord's friend to go with him.
Heck yeah.
So number 8, Pelimato, of course. Another wacky choice, but as we have said, she goes with the N1. She goes with the Razor Crest. She goes with the Cantina. She can pose her with one of our 87,000 Mando Din Djarin figures or Grogu's. But throw her in a deluxe set with a couple of pit droids and Grogu and call it a day. That'd be awesome. I would love to see her. Just love her performance in the shows, and maybe she'll be in the Mando and Grogu movie. Maybe they can put her in the movie line. That'd be awesome. I don't know, but put her on a date with a Jawa figure for the Streets of Tatooine set. I don't know.
Maybe that's how we can get a more articulated Jawa.
Yes. But okay, number 7, last year's champ, Pong Krell. He's always been at the top of my list. Used to have a lot of, like I said, when this started out, I had a lot of long-time Clone Wars wants on my list from the later seasons where they kind of stopped making figures. But Hu Yang has been made, Bo-Katan has been made. They're both essential parts of the live-action Mandoverse now. Pong Krell's dead. He's not coming back, but hopefully he's a little more on Hasbro's radar now after last year's.
Maybe
again, never know. Yeah. I mean, Ventress died and she came back. Everybody's come back somehow. Pong Krell returned.
Maul.
Yeah, Maul. Everybody. Boba Fett. But
just not Qui-Gon. He's the Uncle Ben.
Yeah. He came back as a ghost in the Obi-Wan show. So,
true. Yeah.
And then
in the Clone Wars,
disappeared afterwards.
Yeah. No one's ever really gone, but hopefully someone that's not really gone. One of the coolest characters, the coolest action scene in recent Star Wars memory, maybe honestly ever. If I'm going to be honest, number 6, The Stranger. That was just so cool, and you're lying to yourself if you want to hate on the show just because some YouTuber told you to. That's your prerogative, but you can't admit you got to admit that scene was awesome. All right, everybody. Okay, come on. So at least we need The Stranger and Jackie to round out the Acolyte selections at the very least.
It's important to note too that John wants, if this figure is released, wants the helmet on the figure and the head offset, right?
Oh no!
Nice.
Got him.
Making me sick. When I'm looking, I have my Bo-Katan with the helmet on, and I got her head just floating around on my desk. I'm like, well, that's just gross. It's Moff Gideon's revenge. But yes, he would just be. Loved his performance, loved the action scene, everything about him. I want more of his story, whether that's in comics or books or something. Don't make it another solo Maul situation. Let's actually hear more from this guy at some point soon. So number 5, 4, 3. Let's throw them all out there. A lot of the Bad Batch, Crosshair, Tech, and Wrecker. Yeah, it's frustrating to me that we only have Hunter still. I don't know why. Is it because that 4-pack of skinny clones didn't? It sold through its first allotment, and then they made a second one, and that didn't sell as well. So they're like, oh, well, nobody wants Bad Batch now, I guess. I'm not sure what is going on there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I want all these guys. I want Echo and Omega also. But yeah, like, I don't even remember now. It seems like 3 hours ago. I think Lewis had these 3 on your list as well.
Yeah, they moved down a bit, but I feel like we've made a lot of noise about them, but they just still need to be on there, you know.
Yeah, we keep making them. Yeah, some of these things that I thought were foregone conclusions. I never had Cobb Vanth on my list because I always was like, he's right around the corner. Turns out that corner was 4 years away.
Yeah.
But Echo, no, they'd all be pretty unique. Echo's not.
Yeah.
They'd all be pretty unique. I have the Black Series ones, and they're all pretty unique. I know that some of them share parts, like Crosshair and Hunter had some of the same arms and legs. I don't think that's 100% accurate, but once they do these, there's a lot of repaint. There's obviously the repaint potential of, you know, their mercenary looks, and then their season 3 kind of in between looks. Maybe if I dare to dream, let me get one version before I ask for all 3. But anyway, there they are.
I know better than to try to disqualify Echo from this tournament. Okay, come to my house with Molotovs. All right.
So number 2, Luthen Rail. Come on, he was high up last year. He was ranked. What was he ranked last year? He was ranked 6 on the bracket last year. He was 7 the year before. He's about to come back in season 2. I'm so excited for that. One of the images had a similar thing with the green trench coat and black shirt. Is a little different, but that's the version I would like. So we can actually go with the Cassian that we do have. Yeah, it is, like you guys have said, it's kind of shocking that we don't have him in the line yet. I know he wasn't the hottest seller in Black Series, but, you know, whatever. Don't punish TVC for the sins of Black Series. All right.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Speaking of sweet sellers, the hottest seller of all time. You know him, you love him. My number 1 forever and always, sweet Simalu.
Yes.
Hashtag finish the 96. He is the stand-in for completing that list, even though they threw cold water on everybody by saying FX7 can never be done again. And I said, why would you say stuff like? Don't say stuff like that. That's just going to make people. That's just going to make people ask for this 10 times more. Shouldn't you know this by now, guys? Come on, love you all, but come on.
Real quick, Uncle Dino, I want my like. It's time to like the video now.
Yes, I have 2. I have 2 OT figures on this list. Sweet Sim, yes. So, you know, put them. I don't know. Put them in a pack with a giant mouse droid and another Darth Vader and Emperor, and somehow to sell them. I just redeemed the stream. Thanks, Uncle Dino.
I know I've said it to every list so far that I would, no questions asked, happily shell out for at least 2 of everything on this list. You almost got me, John, although I think I would pause for a second with Canadis.
Well, there's 2 of them in the set, so that's fine because it's 2.
Oh, it's a 2-pack.
Giraffe head dudes. That's a 2-pack already, so you're fine.
Great.
So yeah, so like I said, I want to finish the 96. I want to keep up with new. I want to keep up with new media. I want to keep up with old media. I want to keep up with media that's fallen by the wayside. Finish scenes that I've started in 1999, 2002. You know, things that, you know, Simalu is the last finished, not the last finished 96 figure needed in the vintage collection, but last finished 96 figure needed from the Hasbro collection 1995 forward.
Dang,
wow, everybody hates Canadis. Wow, well,
it's a solid list. You got a good mix there, John, as well. You know, in terms of a little bit of everything. So yeah, it works.
Because it's the wacky stuff that keeps Star Wars, you know, fun in some ways. You got to have the badass moments, and you got to have with the stranger, and you got to have the blink and you miss it moments with Canadis, and you got to have new updates like prequels like Padme and sequels like Finn and Holdo and stuff like that. For me personally, I like a little bit of everything. I do love what we see so far coming out from 2025. It's a great mix of everything new, old, and in between. Stuff that we thought they'd never do. So I don't know.
Variety is the spice of life, and spice is our drug of choice. So
nothing spicier than that Simalu guy right there who stands in the background and looks
sweet Simalu.
Yes.
So good. Love it, John.
So there you go. Thank you, everybody. Great list all around. I want to see everybody else's list. We have almost 60 lists now. Keep them coming, please.
Yes.
Share the list. Share. Yeah, Evan, you want to talk about the
actually, just real quick, I'm gonna try to open up Photoshop real fast. Hopefully I don't crash anything.
Just a reminder real quick, right? We want again, I've said this already during this stream, but it's super important to really hammer this home. Making your image template and sharing it on social media is great. We totally encourage that. Please do that. Spread the word, but it doesn't count as submitting a list. Same as commenting on comment sections on, Bantha Skull or Yak Face or, Rebel Scum, wherever, right? You still got to submit it at the link in the Google Doc. Please don't forget to do that. It's super important. But otherwise, it's not going to count, sadly.
So
yes, and I'll say thanks, Hamdam. You just gave us some super chat, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, heck thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, once another finish the 96 is needed is.
And thank you, Emily, of course. Again, appreciate you.
Thank you for all you do.
And thanks for attending.
Yes.
You're awesome.
We know you probably have much better things to do with your Saturday than listen to us. So
bunch of nerds.
Okay, so I have provided this Photoshop document. It's in this link. It's the same link that you use to get to the form submissions. There's also a template folder as well in the link tree. There's a PNG file, which has got a transparent background that you can load up into your editor of choice, be it Photoshop. Another great one that I recommend that's free would be Canva. You can throw it in there and you can throw your characters in the grid behind the layers so that they are formatted correctly. The only thing with that one is you'll probably have to add a little block over the your name here text, just kind of put a color over it and then your name there, just so we know, so people know it's your list. On this Photoshop document, I tried to lay everything out here so it's super easy and intuitive for you guys to figure out. If you have any questions, please let us know. I think that pretty much covers it, though. I hope that this is a helpful resource for you guys to, get out there and share your lists on social media, wherever, Facebook, Instagram. Have fun with it. Go nuts. Make it colorful. Make it crazy. Show us what you want. But yes, of course, please submit your list properly through the Google form in order for it to be counted. These are just a great way to spread the word, campaign for your choices, and just, have fun.
And, again, every single year we've seen growth in terms of the participation for list gathering. We want to see that trend continue. So grab your cousin, grab your grandma, have them make lists, submit it at the link. Always talk about your grandma, whoever, right? Grab your buddies, anybody who's a Star Wars pal who might be interested in collecting this line.
Yeah.
It always amazes me when we get to the bracket. Sometimes you get people saying, "Hey, how did you pick these 64 characters?" And then you have to explain that we did lists, and then they say, "Oh, how can I submit a list?" And it's, get on board now, because this is where it all starts.
Us four here don't pick the bracket. We don't decide the bracket. That is a collective effort from everyone here, everyone watching, everyone that will be watching this on the replay, everybody who doesn't watch this but is aware and clicks the links through all the things that are shared. Spread the word. We all do this together. This is a joint community effort in order for us to just kind of rally together, have fun together, and talk about the stuff that we love, the things that we want, the things that we like or want to see. It's just fun. So
it's always my favorite when the new guy is like, "Who made this list? This is trash."
Yeah.
Like, you guys did. Don't blame me.
Yeah, I got that on mine.
He picks the
It's
match
gonna
track as the
happen.
other
It
one, isn't
happens
it?
every year, every single time.
Yeah.
Someone's like, "This list is garbage." I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if anyone has, share the link everywhere you can. If you're on some
That's
other
funny.
site that I'm Discord or Twitter or whatever that I don't really go on, please share it there. Reddit, wherever you go. As many places as you can just plaster the link and get the word out.
Reddit's a good one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So share that link, or share the link that's actually in the link tree. Again, bit.ly. Why were you messing with us last night? It's okay, but it's
Yes.
we'll get through. We'll
That
muddle
was a
through
fun
somehow.
panic.
Yeah. We had made all the Evan had made all the graphics, and then I had done some, and then we had to redo them with the link tree. So anyway, share the graphic where you can. Thank you guys. We're almost at 3 hours. We don't need to quite hit 3 hours, I don't think.
Yeah. I don't know. We could kill 11 minutes pretty easy.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. We won't.
So thanks everybody who has submitted so far. Thanks everybody for thinking about it. Don't forget you have until January 31st to do it. And there you go.
Yes. And if you are unclear on any of the rules at all, I mean, they are in the form submission. Again, just going back, but to reiterate, talking about the tooling stuff with it, don't get in your own head about it. Don't drive yourself crazy over it. Ask for what you want. Put the stuff on the list that you believe in and that excites you. Just try to keep in mind and have an eye towards new tooling where possible. If you're unsure, doesn't matter. You saw our lists. There's stuff there that, for example, my Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan, there's probably some pieces they could use here and there from other things for him, like a torso or a bicep. But you know what? In the spirit of it all, I want him all new. I think he needs to be all new, probably would be all new. And if he reuses pieces, great. That's creative. I applaud Hasbro for finding creative and accurate ways to reuse stuff. But just ask for what you want.
Yep. I can't wait to learn all these crazy, obscure Star Wars characters that even I don't know that I learn every year from these submissions.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward.
Typo.
Looking forward to seeing what rises to the top this year. Having so many knocked off from the last few years, I just think it's going to be really interesting to see what's on the new media, if it gets up there. It's going to be an exciting year, I think.
Yeah. Or what? The original trilogy, now that those figures have all being made, the A New Hope ones, are they going to move on to other original trilogy characters or other? Where else are the, is that support?
Give them ideas, John. Don't give them ideas.
Simalu, anybody? Simalu? Canadis, maybe? Huh?
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up, guys. Any final thoughts, or are we good to just jet?
Yeah, we're good.
I think we're about good.
I think
all right. Well, that does it for another live stream and yet another March Madness Top 25 submission launch live stream. We can't wait to see your lists. Be sure to spread the word, submit your list, make graphics, all that fun stuff. Make sure you're subscribed to us here on YouTube. And if you're a social media person, make sure you're following us on Instagram as well for any and all updates. That is our main primary home. Other than that, thank you everybody for helping keep 375 alive. I almost had it. And may the force be with you. See y'all.
Thanks.